Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's 2023. My name is Red Baron, and this is our very first broadcast of 2023. And it's also a very special one because I'm coming to you from the other side of the planet. I'm coming to you from the land of smiles, Thailand. So I'm over here doing some foundation work. I'll be over here for by the looks of it, quite a while. So you won't notice any interruption in the service. You won't notice anything, hopefully, in the quality of the live streams because the internet over here is excellent. Thank God. Many of you know that I've lived for a number of years in Asia, and that's generally not the case over in the Philippines and parts in between. So Thailand's kind of up to snuff, as is a few other countries over there. So that's cool. So anyway, thank you for joining me again. My name is Red Baron. Takes me a couple minutes here because I'm a one-man shop. You guys that are new to the live stream, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know that I'm live here and we're doing our first broadcast for the first part of this year. It's been a while, guys. There just hasn't been a whole heck of a lot to talk about. So give me a couple minutes here while I alert the usual suspects, let everybody know that I'm live, and then we'll start talking crypto. And they're already starting to file in. Good to see you guys. I know it's been a while. It's been, how am I sounding? I mean, it's very interesting. I brought my headphones with me, so the same headphones I do broadcast from on the other side of the planet is the same thing I'm using right now. So sound quality about the same. Give me just a second here. I got to get a few things set up. So, excuse me. Hold on just one second here. I got to cut my mic every couple minutes or so because I'm having some voice problems. So if you do hear the mic cut out, it's just me. I don't want to clear my throat in you guys' ear. So give me just a couple of seconds here. I'm still doing a few setups, and I'll be right with you here. It's lucky I can even speak at all with all the food I've been eating. Oh my lord, these people like spicy food. It is hot. Any of you that have ever been to this part of the country, it is just brutal, just brutal. There we go. All right, so my sound quality doing okay, or do I need to kick it up a little bit? I can still turn it up a little bit. I just don't want to be breathing in your ear here. This microphone has a tendency to be pretty strong. See if I can kick it up just a little bit. How's that? A little bit better. I'm using a different setup here. I'm waiting for a few people to show up here before I get started. I'm waiting for. Good. All right. I'm waiting for a few more people to show up. I'm using a different setup here. I've got a 36-inch tablet. If you guys have ever seen one of these, it's kind of a table tablet, and it's kind of unusual. I don't use it very often, but when I'm going on long distance trips and I'm going to be gone for quite a while, I bring it in light of a PC. It's kind of like a gaming table, like a cocktail table that they use for video games. So it's actually kind of cool. So I can move everything around just pretty much the same way that I can with everything else. So. So if it looks a little stranger than normal, just bear with me here because I'm trying to learn how to live cast with it. So. Okay, so for you guys that are new, my name's Red Baron. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm from FibbyCharts.com. That's the website you're seeing flash on and off your screen here. That's this one right here. You'll be seeing. We'll be talking a little bit more about that here shortly. FIBICharts.com. And if you'd like to be a part of what's going on, you can join our free crypto community. You can do that at theunfairadvantage.chat. And if you'd like the shortcut to this YouTube video channel, that would be theunfairadvantage.tube, T-U-B-E. So super easy to find me. Again, if you want to, we have some new descriptions. I'm now starting to make a presence on Twitter since Elon Musk took me out of tweet jail. And so I'm starting to do a lot more stuff on Twitter, and you can find me at Second Empire Media. Link is in the description box, but it looks like this. That would be me. So when you see that, you'll know that it's me, and you can go ahead and follow along. Okay, so now I got a few people in here. We can go ahead and get started here. All right, so what's going on for this year? Let's just start at the very top. A lot of people have been asking me, what do you see for 2023? Is it going to be any better than 2022? And spoiler alert, no. We're not quite yet to the bottom. I mean, we spent the better part of 2022 waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and we have made some pretty good inroads to the bottom, but we're not there yet, kids. 2023 is basically going to be more of the same. It's going to be 3.0. I mean, this started well over a year ago, and it's not done yet. The predictions that I've been making, and we'll be going over those here. I'm going to pretty much run through the full spectrum of stuff. This is going to be a little bit longer live cast than I normally do because I kind of feel like I owe you something because I haven't done any public live streams for quite a while. And by the way, just to kind of get back to here before I venture too far off the path, if you guys want to subscribe to my charts and stuff like that, we do have in our Discord, the unfairadvantage.chat, we do have advanced rooms in Gold VIP and VIP Platinum, which are these two right here. Go to fibbycharts.com and you can subscribe. Just go in the upper right hand corner and you can find the subscription thing. You can subscribe to our gold charts, or if you want the full spectrum, you can subscribe to the platinum. And we have different levels where we have chats, and I'm always doing predictions every single day. I literally live in front of a computer 99 times out of 100. I'm usually sitting in front of a computer when I'm conscientious. So if I'm not sleeping, I'm usually trading crypto. And so I do updates and stuff like that. So that's why you don't see me very often on public live stream. I just don't have enough me to go around. So if you guys want the best of me, if you want to be able to follow what I'm doing, get over to the unfairadvantage.chat, definitely, because that's where you can find me. And of course, obviously now on Twitter too. All right, so let's go ahead and start with to kind of finish my thought here. So Bitcoin is not looking too sexy, guys. It's heading right where I said it was going to go. So let's clear out some of the spaghetti works here. You can kind of see basically where we meandered our way through this, going all the way back to March, December. So this was March 21. Let's see where we pick up this year at. So starting right about there. So pretty much the entire year, it's just been down, 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 down. So the best is yet to come if you're a buyer. The worst is yet to come if you're a hodler. So you ain't seen nothing yet, kids. So these are the predictions. Basically, I'm putting cards on the table. I've hit every single one of these predictions. And the guys that have been following me for a long time have known that I've been saying this in the face of a lot of criticism from people that don't understand how the crypto market truly works. Our system is powered by AI. It uses a very powerful algorithm that watches and monitors, and it's accurate out to a 1 year plus forecast. So when I tell you that we're going to be hitting some of these prices, you might not see it right away, but rest assured, kids, you will see it. And so 36,530 on down to 34, down to 29, down to 25 and 24, and on and on and on. And so we've been pinging them the whole way. And if you guys are new to the live stream, you don't know what a ping is. Ping is just kind of a funny little way of saying target hit. It's just kind of a vindication that I was right. So you'll see these ping indicators on our charts all the time. It just means told you so. It's just a shorthand for I told you so. Nothing like a good I told you so. And so right now, currently, if you're using standard TA, we're basically in an inverted pennant. And if you understand how TA works, we're going to go right to this marker. Our mark is going to be 12,275 for Bitcoin. I've been saying this for well over a year. And now the YouTubers and the skateboard kids are starting to come along and they're starting to echo my sentiment. And I've been here all along waiting for you guys. We're not going to be done at 12. We're going lower than that. This is just one mark on the road to hell. So just so you know that. So if you guys are wanting to get into Bitcoin, I remain kind of a little agnostic about my position on holding Bitcoin. I really don't know if I would necessarily back anyone that wants to hold a position in Bitcoin because if you understand how crypto works, or I should say, if you understand how the whole Bitcoin ecosphere works, you're basically beholden to two companies that control the lion's share of the mining, and that's a scary proposition to be. And you don't necessarily know who they are. You don't necessarily know what their agenda is, and they certainly don't have your agenda in mind. So if it matches theirs, great. If it doesn't, they could take you to the cleaners, and you could lose everything. So, despite what all the Bitcoin maxis say, despite what all the uninformed people say, I remain a little bit agnostic on my position on holding Bitcoin. I certainly wouldn't make it the lion's share of my portfolio, to say the least. Those would be your ISA coins, and we'll talk about those here coming up in the broadcast. Now, if you guys are new to live stream, you're probably going to have to go through a number of my old videos. I don't want to get into telling stories. This channel is quite a bit different than most channels you've ever been a part of. I'm a world traveler. I'm a business instructor. I'm the author of many, many, many hundreds and hundreds of business books. I've got 3.5 decades of investing experience. You're not listening to someone's opinion. You're listening to someone's experience. I've been in this market for a very, very long time. I hold 1%. I'm in the top 1% holders of XRP on the planet. I am informed, I am connected, and I do know what I'm talking about. So you're in good hands with me, and I have nothing but your best interests. I don't want to sell you anything other than obviously a subscription to pay for my time. I have no hidden agendas. I'm not trying to manipulate anything on you. So if I give you a price or if I give you a prediction, it's based upon my best interest, and your best interest is at heart. So you're in the right place. No crypto holder left behind. That's our motto. All right. So as far as Bitcoin goes, that's pretty much the wraps on it. We're looking at about 12,275 now. Generally speaking, I think we're probably going to go down. We're going to go to about a 50% move. So you can expect pretty much about a pause round about the 14.2, range. And once we get to about the dual AI, which is part of our system here, if some of you guys are new, I kind of backtrack once in a while. We'll pause right here at about 15. And our ISIS marker, ISIS is one of our predictor bots. We're going to pause hard right here. We already have an arrow predicting that's been there for quite a while. And then we'll come on down to about right here. But eventually we're going to go full stroke, and we're going to come down to the 12.27. All right. So we're just going to kind of walk all the way through this. And by the way, some of you guys want to know what you're looking at here is this is our chart subscription service. This is Platinum Pro. Basically, what this has, I believe, about 600 different charts. We give them it all at 15-minute, 1 hour, 6 hour, 1 day, 1 week plus research. And there's some other additional, excuse me, there's some other additional stuff that's part of that. Pardon me, my voice is really giving out on me, guys. It's this damn spicy Thai food that's killing me here. Hold on just a second. Oh, it's bad, man. It's bad. Okay, so I just ate before doing live stream. I should have known better than to do that. But let's see, where was I? Sorry, I so rudely interrupted myself. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go run long stream through all these. We're going to cover all the important ones and kind of give you the start to kind of give you a good head start on the new year and let you know what's going on. But this is the Platinum Pro platform, and this is what you get when you subscribe. Basically, you just come in, click on it, and it opens up, shows you everything that I'm doing, all the live marks that I do updated. And ISIS and Anubis are two bots that update, give you the most current price markers. And we do have now something, some of you guys are a part of the group that have signed up for this. How are you feeling about this? Some of you guys I know that 2 of you guys there are subscribers to HotWatch. What do you think about that? It's a hell of a tool, isn't it? Comes up live in milliseconds from. So what HotWatch is, so you guys know what's going on. Over on our Discord, we have HotWatch as part of the Anubis system, and what it does is anytime I've got a predictor that I have, that rather than wait for me to go on live stream, which is hit or miss, rather than wait for me to come on and actually make a comment, there's just too many cryptos for me to constantly be spinning all these plates and making live commentary on. So each one of these are annotated, and there's going to be even more and more and more with all the price markers of where the bottoms are, where the tops are, where the swing opportunities are, and those come up live within a millisecond of hitting a target. Hotwatch will notify you, will ping your phone and let you know time to buy, time to sell. Here's something that Barron told me I was supposed to look for. Here's a potential swing. What do you guys think of that? Those guys that are involved in that. I think I see about two names. I believe Gaines is Gaines. Are you a subscriber to Hotwatch, if I remember correctly? I think you're in Platinum Pro, so you probably get it anyway. Guys that are in Platinum Pro get Hotwatch as part of their standard subscription, but that's something new that we're just rolling out, and you can subscribe to that in the Discord, and that's not something you would subscribe off of FibiCharts. So we're going to be probably using that an awful lot more here, and as time goes by, so you may see those pop up here. If during live streams when a lot of action is going on, you may see those things pop up on my screen. Hotwatch is a completely live thing that's tied to what I'm doing here on my tabletop, so occasionally it might interrupt a live stream with a ping or a notice. So just so you guys are aware of that. All right, so Ethereum, I really haven't been watching Ethereum pretty much since the whole SBF thing started, since the whole FTX SBF thing started. I've kind of backpedaled away from Ethereum. I'm just really not feeling the love. And I'll tell you honestly, and I've said this probably about, 3-4 months ago, I'm just not feeling the love for Ethereum because to go back and recap what I had to say about that is really I view Ethereum's its own in its own ecosphere is fine, but I view Ethereum as basically the gas to buy shitcoins, and I'm not touching shitcoins this year. Last year I warned everybody this was probably not the year to be screwing with ICOs and new release coins and stuff, and I was vindicated in saying that because it just hasn't been a great year for these lesser coins. They've been taking a bigger beating than most of them, and so there's really no need to hold Ethereum with the idea that you're going to, because the gas fees are just outrageous, and there's better ROI to be had in more stable coins with probably a little less dirt on their hands, so to speak. So Ethereum just hasn't been very attractive to me lately, although I do watch it passively. And you can see the targets that I have outlined here. I've been eyeballing a drop to the sub 1,000, and we did hit this a couple times. I told everybody earlier when we were up here, I told everybody we were going to be coming down to here. We were going to be coming down into the sub 1,000, and we did in fact hit it. So we're going to be revisiting this. So now we're on basically our second test here. We have crossed this kind of line of, I won't say the line of no return, but this is a pretty important trend line, and we are now down and under it. We are inside of another trend line going down. We're just scraping the top, so we're well within the bracket inside of this red channel here. We're well within the bracket setting up for the fall. So let's move that out of the way so it's not in the way. So don't be too surprised if in fairly short order, so you can see we're walking on the inside of this green marker on the inside of this red downward channel. So we're kind of inside that little triangle right there, just waiting to fall to here, to here, to here, and boom, boom, boom on our way down. Now, some of you guys have been subscribing for a while. You already know, if you remember, sometimes it gets to be like drinking out of a fire hose when you subscribe to my channel. But you guys who've been with me for a long time have seen predictions much lower than this. So I'll go ahead and tip my hat here just a little bit. This is the lowest one I've got on the chart right now, 700. And I am a pretty strong, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to throw that in there anyway, just for the hell of it, because I'm a pretty strong believer that we're going to see this and more. Not going to surprise me in the least little bit to see. Let's go ahead and get that up there. That's my OCD kicking in. I got to have even numbers. Okay, so it's not going to surprise me to see this, but I am braced to see us down into the high fours, low fives before this all said and done. To put a very specific number on that drop from here to here, you're looking at a mere 43% drop. That is very doable in a short period of time with just a little bit of bad news. You can already see that we have and I should actually be updating the colors on this, but purple is theory. For you guys that don't understand my color coding system, we do have a course that teaches you this at fibicharts.com, so we'll cover all that stuff later on. But yellow Yellow is pretty darn good odds, better than 65% odds. And I believe firmly that we probably have somewhere in the 80 to 85% range odds of getting down into here. I would say probably in the next 30 to 45 days, very, very easily. Certainly the 945. I think that we'll be seeing under 1,000 probably in the next two, conservatively 3 weeks, thereabouts. Would I be buying Ethereum at that point? No, 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 no. I would be staying completely. Here's my thought on this, and I'll move on from Ethereum rather than beat a dead horse. Ethereum, as I said at the top of this segment, Ethereum to me is nothing more than the gas to purchase these lesser coins, like a Reef or a Dent, if you will, or things that are ERC20 coin related. Ethereum is just kind of a road to get you where you want to go. So do you want to hold Ethereum while you're waiting to buy a Reef, or where you're waiting to buy, whatever your dream coin is? It's an ERC20. Certainly not. So what you want to do is you want to be in cash, and that's what I am right now. Is I'm in cash. I got out of about 4 or 5 Doge trades that I've done. I did pretty well. I mean, I took a little bit of a haircut on that last one. I got in there. I was a little kind of wild and woolly. I took a shot, but I'm still up on that. Um, so I'm in cash right now, waiting for the end of the world. And there's no excuse to be in any of these coins, such as Tether or USDC or anything like that. You're playing Russian roulette with your money, and I really honestly don't want to see any of you guys do that. You should be, if you're in the way that being in cash is kind of a problem, because not all places like KuCoin allow you to be in cash. Coinbase will allow you to do that. So you got to have a battle plan, and you got to have a strategy. How am I going to go from one place to another, and do it quickly? And God forbid the exchanges are down or whatever. And so you got to have a battle plan. So if I'm going to be in cash, I'll just give you my battle plan. I'm going to be in cash. I'm holding it on Coinbase. If I have something like an XRP, which is what I do want to get, it's not going to be had on Coinbase. I'm going to have to go from Coinbase, with my seasoned money, meaning that it's been on the exchange long enough they'll let me buy something and move the coin off immediately. So I'm in cash on Coinbase right now. So I'm going to have to buy a stable coin. God forbid it's Tether. It'll probably be USDC, and I'm going to have to hustle it over to KuCoin or whatever when I see the targets are starting to approach on XRP, and we'll talk about that here in a second, and have it ready to go. And when it hits, and then scoop that stuff and get it the hell off the exchanges as fast as possible. So, this has been kind of a bone of contention, or I should say, not a bone of contention. This has kind of been a point of concern for my followers is, where's the safe place to be? Yeah, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. I can tell you what I'm doing. Um, but I can tell you my opinions on that. But to be honest, if anybody tells you where a safe place, they're pumping sunshine up your skirt, because the truth of the matter is, just look what happened with Sam Bankman-Fried. Nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming. There's a lot of people that lost everything as a result of that. So I mean, that's just the start. There's going to be much, much more. I would be paying closer attentions to which, use the major exchanges. I'm not saying that's going to give you anything to really feel good about. But KuCoin, major exchange. Binance, certainly major exchange. Kraken, okay, Kraken. Would I be on something like Gemini? Hell no. So I heard something just recently that Gemini might possibly be folding 10, and it doesn't surprise me because, those guys are just opportunistic. I'm talking about the Winklevoss twins. I mean, they were in trying to make their fortune, and they're trend chasers, and so good on them for lasting as long as they did. But I never thought they were really much of a contender, and so they can do whatever they want to do, but they're not doing it with my money. So I would never, ever, ever, no matter how attractive the prices are or whatever, ever use them. So another option for those of you, just so I can round this thought process out, another option for you to be in cash is you might want to consider a broker. There's some very good brokers. Gaines, who is it you use again? I'm having a brain fart right now. Who is it you use? If I remember, it's you that's using it. They're in Australia. Post who that is. But brokers can hold your money, and then they can execute your trade across the multiple platforms. So that might be ultimately probably the smartest way for you to play this game. I am not using a broker right now because I there you go, Caleb and Brown. I was just having a mental, I was having a Joe Biden moment, pardon me. And so Caleb and Brown, not to advertise them specifically, I have no ties to them, but that would be a good example for you guys to hold your cash at Caleb and Brown and say, listen, guys, this is what I want to buy when the time's right. Here's the price. Barron says this is where it's going to be. Buy it. When it gets there, then you're in cash. So if the whole world goes to hell, yeah. If the whole world goes to hell, it's my contention that Caleb and Brown is holding your account, your money off in exchange. Because when you're with a broker, your money is not in an exchange. It's with a broker, and brokers have licenses, and brokers have insurance, and hopefully the brokers are reputable people. And Caleb and Brown have a very good reputation. I know a number of high rollers that use them, and nobody has any complaints with them. So that's a fine thing in this day and age. So that would be probably the ultimate suggestion to you. I don't know what's their minimum buy-in, gains. What is their minimum? Is it probably about $5,000? They probably don't want to screw with you if you don't have a couple thousand with them. Too. Not bad, not bad. So that's not exactly McDonald's money. Some of you guys that are new to live stream, we've got 1,000 different terms. You'll hear things like magic chicken bones, McDonald's money. Hang around, you'll pick up on the lingo after a while. So I have an urge to bring everybody up to speed. These new watchers of the live stream sometimes get to listen like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So you got to be around here for a while to understand who I am and all my backstories, because we tend to do a lot of callbacks to past live streams on this thing. So just hang around, you'll pick up on it. All right. So anyway, thoughts on Theta? We're going to get to it. We're gonna run through. Basically, we're going to go pretty much through all the major players here. We're going to go on down. Before I get too far, I do want to touch on silver for a minute, before I forget about it. And by the way, also before I don't go too far down the chart here, we just added Casper, by the way, to Platinum Pro. So we'll cover Casper. Nothing much to say on it, but we will cover it here in tonight's live stream. So um, gold, I'm not a big gold guy. I'm all about the silver. So I wanna talk about silver here for a second. For some reason, I clicked on the wrong one. Here we go. All right. So I'm a pretty large silver bug, and I'm watching it. And this is basically my contention here: is I think silver is getting damn close to go time. Damn close to go time. If you back up here just a little bit, there you go. You back up and you kind of look at the last progression. I mean, when you're micro focused in, it just feels excruciating. When is this thing going to go up? It is going up, guys. It is going up, and it has been going up for a good long time. A good long time. Just doesn't feel like it. If you go all the way back here to, pretty much the turning point was October 22. And it's been on a slow, steady, manipulated incline, just kind of sneaking in under the radar. But what I'm telling you is this: every time I get a little money in my hot little hand, I go sneak down to the silver dealer and I make myself a brick purchase, and I buy as many as I possibly can. And I bought at these blue lines. I bought at higher prices. No shame in my game. I have no problem with that, because I know ultimately where silver is going is far, far higher than anything you're seeing on the screen. Currently, right now, just to kind of touch on this one point, and I'll get off of it here, we are in an inverted head and shoulders. And classically speaking, this is a TA, technical analysis play, and using the charts, it verifies exactly what I'm saying here. We're going to coming across a mid channel right here. So generally in this range right here, just shy of 24, 24 and a half, 24 and three quarters. We're looking at that. Now, once we get into this general area of 25 bucks, thereabouts, I'm calling it the launch zone. And I don't mean the second we hit that, we're going stratospheric, but I will tell you that when we cross $25, there's going to be a disturbance in the force that I'm feeling and have seen for a long time, that you're going to start to see double and triple moves. And by that, I mean $50 and $75 in that range very, very quickly. And when that happens, that's when you're going to know things are really getting crazy. A discussion of silver wouldn't be prudent without a discussion of world markets and what's going on in the world here. I kind of segue a little bit, so bear with me here. I've got a lot on my mind here. I want to kind of download some stuff. We'll hop back onto crypto here, but I want to kind of give you a world view of what to be looking for. Just you guys that know my history, and my history with Cuba, and the tragedy that just happened and the loss of my girlfriend. I do still have people over there that I am now friends with, and Grandmama, who I she sends me messages once a week, so she's kind of becoming a very close friend of mine, and I'm getting intel from her all the time. Uh, but I recently heard yesterday that, and this is very important, what does Cuba have to do with anything? It has a lot to do with it. You guys that have been with me for a long time, we had something called a roundtable that I told you over a year ago what was coming and what to look for. And how many things have I predicted? You guys that are in roundtable that have taken place and are taken part in that, how many things have I predicted that you've seen come to pass in the last year and a half since that happened? Shocking number, isn't it? So one of the most key things that I mentioned in Roundtable is I said, when we get to the point where food starts to become scarce, that's when it's going to just go absolutely bananas. And we're seeing that. Excuse me, hang on just a second here. And we're seeing the start of it here in Cuba. So Joaquin, who is Yelene's cousin, Yelene is my girlfriend. He sent me a message. He's saying, Baron, we're having problems here. We can't use our money. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, they won't take our money. You mean Cuban peso? No, they won't. The market won't take Cuban pesos. So what does that mean? Well, let me go back and tell you a little mini story. I'm famous for my stories. So my four trips that I've taken over there, it kind of works like this. Cubans have something called a Cuban peso, but being an isolated island and the embargoes and whatnot, they'll do anything they possibly can to get their hands on U.S. dollars and euros to a lighter degree. So my first trip over there, I had to pretty much buy all euros, and you can't use credit cards over there because there's an embargo. So you have to be packing cash when you go into that country. If you run out of money, you're screwed. And because credit cards just don't work. And so here's the deal on that is if you want certain things, like if you want to get into a taxi, they'll take an American dollar. If you want to go into a hotel, you can get a hotel, but you have to book it basically in America, and then you get over there and hope to God, go back and listen to my past stories. I ended up sleeping in Mao Zedong Memorial Park the first day I got there because the hotel didn't get booked. And once I got there, I'm like, well, I'll just rebook another room. You can't do that because once you're in that country, your credit cards don't work. So what I'm telling you all that is to tell you this. Uh, the Cuban peso is limited for certain things. It's for food, and it's for just like local, just little knickknack shit. They really don't want to take the major players or the major industries there don't want to be taking the local currency. And so here's what has transpired. So Joaquin sent me a message yesterday and said, I'm having problems. We can't buy food. I'm like, oh, here we go. And I said, why is that? He says, because they're not accepting Cuban pesos. And of course, obviously, if you have a job over there, you get paid in Cuban pesos. So here's the situation. Your money's no good in your own damn country. So what are you going to do? And it's like, I don't know. And I said, yeah, dude, let me send you some money. So I had to go through this very convoluted process of sending him money through a person, through a middleman, and it's a whole thing. Send him some American dollars. And so he sent me back. I'm sorry I don't have it available to show you. He sent me back a picture of 6 or 7 pictures. I posted it in Discord, I believe. 6 or 7 pictures of the downtown market where it's just body to body, and there's police that are there to prevent riots. People are pissed. They're scared. Um, they're being locked out of the stores because they won't even let you go into a store if you don't have money. I mean, you can't go in there and walk around because they don't want you stealing anything. But these folks are now experiencing what the rest of the world will be experiencing when they can't get to an ATM, when their credit cards don't work. We all know these stories. We've all talked about them for a very long time. It's literally happening 70 miles off the American shore right now. And so, keep an eye on Cuba, do a little scanning and listen to what's going on in Cuba because I'm going to expand on this. I'm going to tell you what comes next because the 21 group has had a very, very good look at this at my urging. And I said, the time is now, guys. It's coming. I can feel it. So what you want to do is you want to watch Japan next. There's a lot of talk that Europe is going to be the first thing to go before America. Not so much. I firmly believe that Japan is going to be next. Japan is going to be the first one to fold on the major stage, the first major player to fold. So where your eyes need to be is on the Japanese yen. When you start to see the things that I'm describing to you in Cuba playing out on the world stage, playing out in major countries. Like, how can that happen in Japan? They're so they're so evolved and they're so modern and whatever. They have been in a bad way for decades. Their massive growth that they experienced. I'm part of the automotive industry. I'm an automotive designer by trade. So I have a very long-standing understanding and relationship with Asia in general, and the Japanese markets. In the 1980s, when Japan really came into dominance in the auto industry, basically what happens is, it's a whole thing, but basically what's going on over in Asia is, once you get a job, you have a job for life. They never fire you. And it's just kind of a self-fulfilling thing where the whole system gets so top heavy that they have to borrow to keep it running. And you want to talk about unsustainable? Japan is the poster boy for unsustainable. And with all the people dying of the jab and the cough and whatnot, it's starting the cracks in the dike are starting to show, and they have a rapidly aging population, and there's very few people. I don't know what the ratio of young person to old person is, but it's probably one of the most out of whack anywhere in a developed country. And so the combination of a lot of those things, plus the financiers, as it were, that keep this stuff going, they're playing the same leverage games and money shenanigans that we're doing over here in North America, and indeed they're doing over in Europe and London. And the problem is they've been doing it a lot longer than anybody else. That's what brought them to dominance in the automotive industry and the electronics industry. And I'm 55 years old right now. When I was a child, I remember there were a number of products that were made in Japan. Think about it right now. How many things have you picked up recently that say made in Japan? Can any of you name anything that's made in Japan that's not made in China or not made, in Malaysia or made, wherever, Philippines, wherever else? Very few things are made in Japan. They own stuff. They own these corporations, but they don't do anything. So they don't have a worker base any better, if not worse, than we do here in America, in North America, and indeed in Europe, in the first world Europe. So what you're ending up with is you're ending up with a situation where basically it's a house of cards ready to crumble. And you're going to see Asia in general, but you're going to see Japan lead the way with the financial collapse. And as that works its way around, which will be rather quickly. Now, it's difficult to say whether or not London will, I always say London because it's the financial capital of the world, or whether Europe will follow suit behind. It's likely that Europe will indeed be next. Let's speak about Europe for just a second. So Europe, and by that I mean England, Europe has again also had problems for a very long time. But the issue is they're just good at covering up their bullshit. I mean, there's just no way of there's just no way of sugarcoating it. And they have media, they have this, that, and the other thing. They have a system that's catered to hiding shenanigans better. But again, those cracks are only going to go for so long before the dike gives way and the floodgates open. And so Europe could possibly be next. I mean, they've got innumerable problems, many more than North America. So they're just ripe for the picking or the crumbling, so as it were. And so as that plays out, whether they go first or whether we go next is remain to be seen. But my money for a number two position would be Europe. Now, what you're watching for here in North America is you're not watching North America, you're watching Mexico. When Mexico defaults on its loan to the World Economic Forum, that's going to have, and I don't want to get into a whole advanced theory here, I'm kind of giving you the 1,000-foot view. When Mexico folds and defaults its payment to the powers that be, that's going to have a catastrophic effect that's going to come right across our border. Now, not taking into account anything that's going on with Canada, that's a wild card. We could be getting it from both ends. But the thing that I have long felt that's going to be the trigger for North America is a default by Mexico on its debt. So you want to be watching for two things: Japan to default to start the whole process, and you want to be watching for Mexico to see how close it is to home, because Mexico will fall before we do. And just basically on a rough guess, I would say it would be a matter of anywhere from 1 week to a week and a half before it hits the general populace, and it is readily noticeable in prices and inflation and in the things that are going on in Cuba. I would say that by the time you hear any news, of Mexico, you better get your happy ass to the store and start buying everything that you hold near and dear, and as far as food goes, because you will have precious little time after news gets out, and that's when it's going to get real. But we are, and this is kind of getting into 2023 predictions. We are in the year where this is going to happen. We're not going out of 2023 without a crash. So if you want to call it a crash, if you want to call it the final bottom or whatever, all of it is going to happen in 2023. It was speculative whether we were going to make it to the end of 2022 and see it. It just seemed too neat and too tidy and too clean to believe that it was going to happen before December 31st. So it's a little surprise to me to see that it's trickled on into Q1 of 2023. So you will see, obviously, everything that's going to come to pass is going to come to pass, and crypto will not begin to emerge as any kind of a solution, as any kind of a true appreciation until the latter part of 2024 and certainly into 2025. So I have kind of given some of the VIP guys in some closed live streams that I do for VIP only. I've talked about this, and you know, the skateboard kids are basically uninformed YouTuber kids that basically hear something and repeat it as fact. Uh, you probably have all heard that, we're going to hit the bottom, we're going to rebound. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. We are not going to slam to the bottom and 1 hour later take off to the moon. It is not going to happen like that. No investment ever in the history of investments has ever worked that way. And crypto will be no different, because the investors in crypto are the same people that are invested in silver, the same people are invested in equities, real estate, stocks, bonds, whatever. It does not work like that. If you go and look at the I can't remember the name of it. If you go and look at the way that basically markets capitulate, you'll notice that there's some disbelief, and then it goes to the bottom where people start to feel hope again. I mean, there's a number of months and weeks that go by before people decide they want to stick their head back in the bear trap and try again. So it's going to be just walking through the field picking up diamonds, and then it's just a matter of faith. You're not probably going to buy at the absolute bottom, but certainly prices that are radically lower than what we're looking at now. And I'll give you a pretty good indicator of where those bottoms are across the board. I'll be here to kind of tell you where those are at. All right, so that's basically what I just kind of wanted to give you a general look at the world, because we're getting very near to the things that are going to start to crash. Regulation's another thing we could talk about, so that I'm not missing out on that. Regulation, this whole thing is a farce, guys. I mean, the whole how do I want to go to this? All right, so let's talk about this. The end goal for FTX was to be the everything app. It was going to be your social credit score. It was going to be your vaccine pass. It was going to be everything. And that was the master stroke. That was what they were trying to do, and it just house cards. It all fell apart. But there's another one waiting in the wings. Many of you might have heard of it. Many of you probably don't even know. You've probably seen the articles, but you don't understand how it connects. There's something called X.com, and it's owned by yours truly, which is Elon Musk. And he has publicly come out and said on his wish list, he wants to be just like WeChat over in China. It is a social media app that has everything about you, your banking, your social media, your social credit score, everything, your Vax passes, whatever, is on WeChat over in China. And without your phone, you are nobody. You are an NPC, and that's what his dream is. How in God's name people can look at this guy and worship him as the savior of humanity with the crap that he's pushing. I made a kind of a snide quip on YouTube. I think nobody with hair plugs that bad should be telling me what goes in my head. Um, should be coming off as an authority about what to put in my head. But the truth of the matter is it's all being laid out. But backing up a little bit, the FTX collapse was predictable. It was engineered. And the truth of the matter is, it's a look at the left hand with the right hand's, stabbing you in the back kind of thing. But the regulation at the core of what's going on here. Pay no mind to everything that's going on publicly. What's really going on is this is all laying the ground for we need problem reaction solution. We need regulation. Damn it! A lot of people lost their livelihood. Government, please come to save us. No problem. We got a solution right here, ready to go. Well, hell of a thing that you do. Could you please implement that and protect us? And that's exactly what this is all about. Regulation is going to come to pass. Now, I've been talking to the Wild West Crypto Show. Many of you guys know who that is. So I'm trying to hook something up with those guys to be doing an interview, to kind of be talking to them a little bit and maybe sharing my thoughts and going back and forth with those guys. I've been talking to them on Twitter, and they've been making some posts. And Twitter's kind of where that's my private soapbox. I go there to kind of yell at the world. So. Get off my lawn. And I'm kind of enjoying it. So I'm much more unfiltered on Twitter than I probably am anywhere else. But uh, the, the whole thing with Elon Musk, every time I see the stuff that he's posting, you just have to understand what's trying to, the whole thing is control. They're painting this guy as the hero versus the villain. But when you look at this guy, and you understand his ties and his connections, do you realize that his co-partner in crime created PayPal? Him and Peter Thiel created PayPal. But if you go and look at Peter Thiel right now, what is he into? He's backed by the CIA all over the stinking place. Their control, and he basically is the person. This is above my pay grade to be able to go all the way completely through this, but if basically Peter Thiel is keeping it on the DL right now, but he's working with the CIA to basically bring in that WeChat thing. Elon Musk. Here's the one point that I'm sorry. There's like a lot to cover here, but Elon Musk. They always there's never any bad PR. Recently there is. It's controlled PR. Oh, he's terrible. No, no, no. He's protecting our free speech. Okay, whatever. Um, I mean, you look at this guy and you're like, why is this guy just like Teflon? He doesn't do anything wrong. He's such a genius. He's created rockets, and no, he hasn't. No, he hasn't. You don't create something like that. You don't come out of the financial sector and start building rockets and launching them into space and get military contracts unless you're backed by somebody who has a bigger agenda than you. He is a useful idiot, so to speak, and he's just the face that gets the job done. So that's what this is. But meanwhile, when you start to realize that Neuralink is what the end game is for that, and lo and behold, he's trying to create X.com, which is the everything app, and he's trying to stick a chip in your head, and by the way, he's creating the Boring Company. Well, why would you want the Boring Company? Well, that's so that everybody can go underground and hide from all the people upstairs. It's the Boring Company is one that kind of stays on the down low, and the thing that he's trying to tell everybody is that is for what do I want to say? That's for like trams and trains. No, 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 it's not. Have you seen anything being in ground being laid with that? No. That's for an entirely different thing. The public face of it is maybe we're going to do underground transportation. Why do we need underground transportation? We don't. That's not what the Boring Company is all about. And so, he's trying to launch people to space. He's trying to put them underground. I mean, you really just have to stop and try to figure out what this is all about. Why is one guy so interconnected and his quiet partner is working with the CIA? Here's the point that I want to make, and I'll get off this. We'll get back to crypto. Every once in a while, I kind of go down a rabbit hole. People talk so much about what a savior he is, and here's the point that I made to the people that are in VIP. Consider this: he and Peter Thiel started PayPal, probably one of the most evil financial institutions on the planet. They are judge, jury, and executioner. Do you realize my wife was a compliance officer for a bond trading company, still is, my ex-wife, and years ago, I had a multi-million dollar business. I was doing about $50,000 a week on eBay, and my wife looked at PayPal and she goes, "What are you doing?" And I go, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Why are you using this company?" And I go, "Why?" And she goes, "I looked at their terms of service." He goes, "This is not a bank." And I go, "I know." And she goes, "It's not a credit card company." He goes, "It's nothing. There's nothing like PayPal on the planet. It is judge, jury, and executioner. It is not subject to the laws of banking. It is not subject to the laws of all these other institutions. There is no other institution on the planet like PayPal, and they are at their sole discretion. If they want to keep your money, they'll keep your money. And how do I know? Because they have $150,000 of my money that they've never given me back. Their excuse was, I'm making money too fast. Literally, I kid you not. I owned a motorcycle company that had about 5,000 items on eBay. I'm making money too fast. They like the little small guys that'll do little knick-knack trades and trade Pez dispensers. They don't like the high rollers. They kept $150,000 of my money. Never gave it back. Call a cop. We don't give a shit. And if you get to go deep in this and you get to understanding that they're sitting on $2.5 billion worth of money like that, and they've never given it back, and there's nobody that can do anything about it. They're based in Singapore. They're not subject to the same laws as everyone else. They're judge, jury, and executioner. Now you guys have heard the most recent thing, which just made me absolutely perversely giggle, is now they're like, if they don't like your politics, they'll just take $2,500 out of your account. You got to be kidding me. No, no, I'm not. And they'll do it because they can. So here's the point that I want to make on this, and we'll get back to crypto. Uh, so if the savior of mankind, Elon Musk, is so great, why does he still own stock in PayPal? You never hear about that. If this guy's so worried about your human rights and your free speech and doing the right and ethical thing and trying to advance humanity, why is he still holding on to stock from probably one of the most evil financial institutions in the world? And the answer to that is because he's a prop, and that's the truth. Um, Going back one more thing on this, when you sell a company, when you build a company like that of that magnitude, you don't just walk away. You take an exit package. You're going to hold some stocks or some options or whatever. You're not just going to walk away scot-free. You're not just going to take the money and run. You're going to want to keep a little stuck aside in case your predecessors grow the company beyond what it is you were able to do. Yes, he does still own stock, but you never hear about it. And so, some friends of mine that are high-level bankers, they did some digging and stuff like that, and they got to look at what his portfolio was and his through shell companies. Yeah, he has a considerable amount of PayPal still, but you'll never hear anybody talk about that. Okay, so that's enough preaching on that for a while. We'll get back to it. You guys that are new to the live stream here, occasionally you'll get this out of me, and when we call these streams of consciousness. You just never know when I'm inspired to kind of get on a rant. So. All right, so getting back up here, let's touch on, so we already covered ETH. All right, so XRP, this is where the big conversation is right now, and you can see what the story is. I've been very accurate in this. This system was created with XRP way back over a year and a half ago when I created Fibby charts, when I created the algorithms, when I created the bots, the predictors, and whatever. I did it by watching and modeling XRP. So there's no crypto anywhere that I don't know more about within these charts than XRP. So when I call a move, you can pretty much take it to the bank. It's going to happen. And so currently, we're looking at basically a head and shoulders from past formations that's dropped down here. We're into another head and shoulders. So let's go ahead and strip off some of the spaghetti here. You're into another head and shoulders, which is going to take it right down here to this dual AI line at 16 cents, guys. 16 cents. For a long time, I was telling everybody expect to see 22 to 25 cents in the general range. We did hit just ever so close to 25 cents, bounced up a little bit, and I told everybody don't freak out. That's not the bottom. We're going to take another shot at this, and sure enough, we went up and we come back down, and that's exactly what's happening. So we're setting up for the big one. The big one. Anubis has already got the calls going way back here into May 17th. Once, twice, three times, four times, five calls. Five calls. We're waiting at the 16, $16.50 range, or 16, 16.5 cent range, and that's where it's going to hit next. So we're waiting for that to play out. When that plays out, I strongly suspect we'll ping pong back and forth in here a little bit while everybody tries to figure out what the hell just happened, but we still have much, much more to go. I currently have this at 0.0222. That's kind of a tip of the hat to Joe at JSNIP4, but close enough for hand grenades. I strongly suspect that XRP is going to go sub 5 cents before this is all said and done. And I am hearing talk now from other people that are studying this with some seriousness and not just squawking what they heard on YouTube and echoing it. I am hearing a few people that are starting to say, it could go that low. And I'm like, yes, yes. I've told you this. zero point zero 0.04 cents is where I've got it at right now. I'm still got it as purple theory here, but I'm pretty much to the point where I'm about ready to flip this color to yellow. I already got this one here at yellow, but I'm pretty much to the point where I'm about ready to go all in on this. Now, I do have this marked here for everybody to let them know. We have something called a safety buy here on this channel. You don't wait for the bottom because that's a sucker play. I mean, you don't know. You might be sleeping. It might come down, flash wick, hit the price that I call, and then off to the races it goes, and you miss the boat. So you always want to do a safety buy. When we cross a point where it's reasonable to consider buying, then you buy. You buy a percentage of your bag. You don't wait and put it all in black and just let that baby ride. You don't do that. So you start buying reasonably and prudently, and I plan on doing that at around about this point right here, which is about right there. So I'm looking at doing a 500,000 XRP purchase on that one right there. That's I'm not McDonald's money. Granted, I'm not trying to flex on you here. I just want to let you know what's going on. But I'm going to do about a $40,000 purchase at that point. That's not the whole bag. I've got some XRP I want to be buying back from an earlier investment that I pulled out, and I shouldn't have done it, but I did. And so I want to get that back. I'm grudge trading my way back. So the line of recapturing all of my lost XRP is right here. So that's why I'm doing that. And so I'm going to be buying in at about that. Now I'm waiting for the next one to come down here and hit this green line. So between this green line and this white line here, this is good enough for me. I'm not going to try and capture this down here. It could power wick down here in just a heartbeat, and boom, there and gone. You may not even be able to execute a trade. So rather than screw with it, by the time this thing turns and starts to go up to the predicted levels that we're going to be seeing in the next 3, 4, 5 years, it's inconsequential whether or not you get a little bit down here, a little bit up here, or whatever it is. Anywhere in this zone is completely permissible. If you guys want to have any questions, go ahead and just throw them in here. I'm just kind of riffing a little bit. So, been a while. I'm kind of a little out of practice here. So, uh, that's, I'd love to just be able to give you a canned answer for that, South Pole. And he's asking here, so you guys that can't read his chat, what's the top 5 coins? I can't get you. I kind of got suckered. Yeah, did you buy? Digibyte is not on that list. And so I'd love to be able to give you an answer for that, but that depends on an awful lot of things. What kind of money are you working with? What kind of portfolio do you have? What's your goal? I'm 55 years old with a very large portfolio. McDonald's might, if I worked at McDonald's worked at the fry-later on McDonald's and I was sweeping up floors in the back of Taco Bell, I might look at my portfolio slightly different. So the answer to that is, I can show you the ones that I do like, and we talk about those all the time on Discord. Just go with those. Yeah, Digibyte. I don't even get me started. I'll waste another hour bitching about that. So, I suffice it to say to some of you guys that are new to the live stream, uh, I'll do a compliment sandwich, which means say something good and then bash it and then say something good and then stop talking about it. So Digibyte basically is the fastest coin I have ever used. I will say that. And meanwhile, it's got, nothing going for it. It's just not doing anything. And the biggest problem with Digibyte is because it's not doing anything, it's not moving as fast as everything else. You get something called the time value of money, and you're not going to see a return on your money. So your money is better spent somewhere else that you're getting some price action, up, down, left, right, whatever. Digibyte's not doing that. If you're hodling Digibyte hoping for someday it's going to go hockey stick, a lot of opportunity is going under the bridge. And I don't care whether we're talking about Digibyte or anything else. It's just a bad idea. Volatility is what makes you the money right now in these markets. You're looking for two things: volatility for you guys that have trade sickness that want to be able to do, and I get it too. That want to be doing something every once in a while, something like a Doge, something like a T Fuel, and Theta to that point is better because you get an awful lot of move. Where Digibyte is just nothing. So Not a good investment. Now, that being said, it's got a great community and stuff like that. I don't know. Will it ever see its day? Every coin that's worth its salt is going to see its day. So this is just one of many. So I don't hang my hat on this hook anymore. I've owned a lot of it in the past. I kind of bought into the hype. I thought, cute name, nice logo, whatever. Surely it'll do well. Any day now, Coinbase is going to adopt it. Nada. Nada. And you can kind of say that a little bit about Cardano too. So we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But this is dead to me. And it's basically going to get moved down the list here pretty soon. So um, anyway, that being said, now I'll tell you, if you want to see the superstar, the one that I'm really all in on, and that's this one right here, XLM. XLM, I'll say this and say this and say this till I'm blue in the face. XLM, in the short term, defined as 6 months or less, will outperform XRP and probably just about everything else you can think of. The reasons are numerous. There's an ISO council. ISO is basically the banker standard for coin usage, to dumb it down a little bit. Ripple XRP is on that board as a controlling member, and so is XLM. Stellar Lumens is on that board. So wouldn't it's kind of like government. If Nancy Pelosi is picking a certain stock, you kind of want to know what Nancy's interests are, don't you? So always bet on the winners, never bet against the bankers, kind of thing. And so to watch XRP and XLM, they're pretty much shaping the future of ISO policy. So why the hell would you want to worry about Cardano possibly getting on that list or Quant getting on that list? They have no seat at the table, and they're more expensive. And so why bother? And ADA is not, but Cardano ADA is not. But Quant, I'm just not a lover of Quant because there's just too much better opportunities, such as my third favorite here, XDC, which we'll talk about here in just a second. But back to XLM. XLM is going to outperform because basically we're down lower in the price. My alarms are set here. We're down lower in the price. We're 7 cents to XRP's. What XRP's current price? I didn't even look. To XRP's 32 cents. It's much easier, as I've said this umpteen times, it's much easier to go from 7 cents to 14 cents than it is to go from 32 to 64. Much, much easier. So your ROI, your purchase opportunity is lesser. You can get more bang for your buck. You guys that are small time investors or whatever shouldn't even be looking at a quant, shouldn't even be considering a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or any of those things. Right here is going to change your life, or it's certainly going to improve your life. I don't, depends upon how much money you put at it. I can immediately hear some of the next questions you want to ask. Is Dent still on my list? No. I'll mention this later on in the live stream. But XLM, to kind of stay on point here, XLM just has so much going for it, guys. I mean, it's going to be part of the banking system, the world money transfer back and forth, stuff like that. It's backed by IBM. It's on the ISO council. I mean, my God, the road is paved for success with this. All you got to do is latch onto it and just ride the ride. You're just waiting for the right and proper time to get in. So currently right now we're setting up for our next drop. Anubis has got us sitting right here. I've had this predicted since about about the middle of December. And no, that's not true. I've actually had it predicted since November 15th. So we're looking at this as your first and your second confirmation. So we're going to be coming down here to 0.0665. And possibly bouncing a little bit. Pay no mind to that. It's just kind of points along the road. Hashgraph is another one I'm all about. And then, of course, obviously we'll be fine. I've changed my marker thing here. I find that it's a little easier to use these because I can stretch them and get them out of the way if you guys are kind of liking that. I'm trying to put price targets on these things to kind of help you guys out a little bit because I know some of you use your phone, and I know, I've said my piece about trading with a phone, but some of you still do. I guess I have to just kind of learn to live with it. So I've got the price targets on here so you guys can see that because I know this is a little hard to see on the left here when you're watching my live streams on phone. So our current right now, basically, and that actually should be moving down here just a little bit. ISIS just basically readjusted. So we're looking at basically about a nickel and some change, about a nickel and a half for the predicted moves right now. But we have a zone much, much lower. when everything goes to hell, when we really, really, really start to get into the deep, deep, deep dark slide, we're going to be down into these prices. I'm not ready to go full stroke on these things yet and call it, but we're looking at a dual AI line right here at about 3 cents. I really honestly wouldn't have any problem with you guys scooping it up anywhere in this box right here, anywhere from basically 3.5 cents on down. Load the boat. You got my full permission and blessing. I don't think there's any reason to risk missing out because you're looking at prices far, far, far well above $10, well above $20. The price, I'm reading comments. I keep hearing that the technology behind XLM will be utilized, which people say will not affect the price. All right, I'll speak to that. The institutions in tech aren't interested in the token itself. Okay, so how do I say this in layman's terms? There's a reality and there's the speculation. How's that sound? I'm with you on that. I understand. Yeah, and you guys are hitting me with some good questions there, Fish Face. You're also answering. So let me answer Jerry's concern here. Whether it is or whether it isn't, would it be reasonable to believe we dip down to 3 cents? Would it be reasonable to believe the news is still going to come out that Stellar Lumens is doing stuff with international bank transfers and whatever, and it's I like to say the term guilt by association, success by association. So, oh, XLM, Stellar Lumen, what? Buy that. And let's be honest, how many of you guys actually could explain to me what XLM really does and how it does it? Very few of you probably can. You hear superficially the news and you buy something. And that's the way most investors work. So success by association. So what I'm telling you is this, Jerry. Basically, here would be the plan in that scenario. We come down here, we strike down here in the area. Let's be a little more reasonable about that. We come down, we hit here, you make a buy. Then the market starts to straighten out and starts to go up. You're putting stop losses under every single thing. As this thing goes up and up and up and up, regardless of what the technology link is, as it goes up and up and up, you're chasing it with stop losses. So if the day ever comes where excitement leaves and it goes down, you get executed, cha-ching, you got paid. That's the way you would play XLM. It's the way you should play all of these things. Once we come off the bottom, this is exactly the strategy all of you guys should be using. You should be coming up with semi-loose stop losses underneath things. Once we hit the bottom, there's only going to be, and this is probably something I should be mentioned, there's only going to be one ultimate bottom. If you miss your chance at bat, then you've missed it. When we come down to the bottom, I mean the bottom, when we come down to the bottom and you make a purchase down there, you're not going to get a second chance at bat. So you got to play it and play it right. And by that I mean this: you come in, you make your purchases. While we're in that zone, I'm not saying it's going to happen one day and start turning. While we're down in that zone, you make those purchases. And as it starts to ascend back past these ISIS markers and back past these predictors on the way up, start putting your stop losses below these things so that if we ever have a down market and we pull back, as we often do, you get liquidated and your profit goes right straight into your bank account. Yeah, the stretchy tags, that's what we'll just call them. I like the other ones because they read a little bit better. They're a little bit, my dyslexia being what it is, but that's fine. If it works for you, it works for you. Yeah. So is XLM going to stay on Coinbase? That's for Coinbase to say. Here's my thought on this. They've never been embroiled in any kind of lawsuits. So this is another thing. It's cheaper. It's cheaper than XRP. It doesn't have the baggage. It's easy to get into, easy to get out of. Everybody accepts XLM. It's kind of like the good guy on the block. Everybody likes XLM, and so you can go from exchange to exchange. It's fast. It's cheap. You can use it. Trade pairs are plentiful. There's a multitude of reasons to be in love with XLM, and so I don't see the whole weird wallet thing that they were doing. I still don't get that, but you can still buy on Coinbase for the time being. And so I don't foresee them kicking XLM off. Now, to you kind of trigger me to start a new rabbit hole to go down. Again, I mentioned talking to the Wild West Crypto Show. Uh, they're another fellow YouTuber. I kind of did a little mini Twitter rant about this, and I've mentioned this in the past to subscribers. This would be one of the, and we'll just say ISO coins in general, pretty much most coins in general, and I'm not talking about Shiba or Digibyte, but the real, the adult, the adult big boy coins. Let's just call it that. You're not going to be able to own these things in private wallets, guys. You're just not. And so eventually, this stuff is all going to get scooped into a Charles Schwab or a banker, broker, whatever, someone who's licensed, and this is all going to go legit. And you're going to see volatility just go nothing. But eventually, this is all going to get swept into areas where basically you're not going to be able to touch it. I've told many stories about this and about bearer bonds and my history with stocks and bonds and stuff like that. But eventually, this is going to be controlled by the haves. And if you want it, well, we'll hang on to it for you. And by the way, you can pay us for the privilege of doing it, etc. We've talked about that. And these things like all these private wallets that are out there, they might hold your Doge, or well, I don't know about that, but they might hold your lesser coins, your Shiba or your whatever, all your Digibyte. But I really don't see these larger coins um, being on being able to store and hold your own coins, because what they're going to do is they're going to immediately start using that T word, terrorism. Oh, well, you might be funding terrorism. We don't trust that wallet. It hasn't been vetted, whatever. And so you need to come from a thing, and they can blacklist that wallet and everything you got. If you hold out and say, well, I'm not going to let Chuck Schwab touch my XRP. Next thing you know, they go, well, fine, then no one's going to touch it because we're not going to take it. And it's just been blacklisted with a point, and we're just that fast because they have the technology to do it. And so same with XLM. And so that will end up happening. So do I see XLM being chased off of Coinbase? Ultimately, no. No, because there hasn't been an awful lot of talk about it recently, but you see other exchanges filing to become a bank. I mean, I think we all know these exchanges are going to be kind of pseudo banks. It's going to be the bank for the new age. So, basically, Coinbase and financial institution are going to be interchangeable at some juncture in time, as is Kraken, as is Binance, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, the short matter is, I just really don't think that's how that's going to play out. All right, so these three are ISO coins, and I kind of call them the X triplets. This one here, um, I've been making predictions on this that it just makes me giggle because no, nobody believes me until they see it happen. Like, well, that's a hell of a thing. Um, Clear back here in September, I told everybody it's going to be coming down to this level, and boom, we hit it. We dropped a little bit lower. We came back. We settled right on that area, and I said it's going to be going up here. And I had somebody ask me, now that it's reversed, and this was basically I kind of called the bottom when it was down here, and from this was on live stream for VIP live stream. So we had about a 43% run. So if you guys would have purchased, not that I'm suggesting you did, but if you guys would have gotten trade sickness and maybe wanted to buy a little something, I could see a potential run right here, and I kind of alerted everybody to it. But there was a 40%, 43% run here. I had some people asking me, now that we're here, should I be making a purchase? I'm like, you don't chase balloons, you don't catch falling knives. And so I said it's probably likely that it's going to go back up into the triangle, and indeed it did. And we had heavy resistance there. We've had heavy resistance. It's no surprise to me we didn't puncture that, because I mean, look at all the resistance we've had going way back. So no surprise to me, and I kind of suspected that. We double tapped it, and basically we capitulated and fell back down. So we are now gathering steam for another leg to the bottom. And currently I'm waiting for a retouch on 0.02330. That's going to be our next one. Should you buy it? No. Just watch it and just smile and know that it is, and wait for more, because basically we're waiting for areas down here. I don't want to go any lower than this right now, but I've got a target sitting down here at 0.0, basically just slightly over a penny. Slightly over a penny. And some of you guys that are new to live stream here, that are new to listening to me, might be looking at that and going, what is this guy smoking? Well, I'm smoking the good stuff, success. It's going to happen. I've made enough predictions with this that I can tell you that that's ultimately probably the bottom. This was made Sunday, June 22nd. Probably wicks down into this area. This is not a call. Probably wicks down in this area. But let me show you something. If we fall to this area, that's only 42. If we fall to this area here, which is basically where I expect, probably going to be about a 75, 76% drop. If we do fall to the white, we're at 90. So right in this general range right here, this is where you do your buys. This is where you set your buys. Under a penny. And you can see I have my alarm set right here, so I'm already giving myself a heads up. But basically, right in that general area is where you make your purchases at on that. And then you wait. So XDC, Zenfin, if you care to call it that, is going to be part of the new financial system. It's a no-lose proposition. They are not like XRP and XDC or XRP and XLM. They don't have a seat at the table, but they are a major player. And so to own this right here, this particular coin right here is a sucker bet. It's just a sucker bet. There's no way you're going to lose on this. I say that with the full conviction of knowing that this is backed by bankers, and you never bet against the bankers. Never bet against the bankers. I mean, basically, they're giving you the playbook. All you got to do is open your eyes and read them, and read what they've been typing forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Well, what about all the price falls? Why is it going down? Because it just is. They're setting things up, but this is going to come into its own, just like XDC, just like XLM, just like XRP is not going to come into its own until the latter part of 2024. So we've got time for this thing to go down. I mean, it could go down and tease and go back up and go down and tease and whatever. It could go sideways. Once we get down here to these levels, it could go sideways for a good amount of time. And then one day, when the world sorts itself out and we, whomever's in office or things, we get past whatever it is that's affecting humanity and making everybody lose their mind, crypto is going to come to the forefront and things are going to start to lock in and they're going to quote unquote flip the switch, and you're going to see this thing start to ascend. But from prices of a penny and upwards, guys, you're looking at probably easily anywhere like 100x, 200x, 250x, ridiculous amounts of so any of you guys that are in the McDonald's money category, you would be doing yourself a huge disservice by not buying XDC. This should probably be on the top two things you should be looking at. All right, so Theta. I'll go back and recover this because it's our first live stream here, and I'm just kind of on the mood to kind of preach. Theta, I've been involved in the electronic industry for a very long time. I own a company that manufactures electronic speakers for the U.S. military and for car audio and entertainment applications. And I can tell you, I understand how anything that's related to the electronic industry rolls out. That happens on January 1st, the Consumer Electronics Shows. We just had it, and nothing was in the news about Theta. Nothing major about Theta being attached to Sony or to Samsung. So better luck next time. Get you next year. So this thing is dead on arrival. There's nothing going to happen that's too super spiffy with Theta or T-Fuel this year. It must be integrated with some hardware before this thing is going to be worth a shit, to be very, very honest. Now, the prices that they're forecasting, $2,500, $2,500. I'm not in doubts of that, but we're not going to see it anytime soon. So we basically, this one for me is a back burner one. If anything, I'm kind of interested in, I like to trade T-Fuel because I don't believe it's going away and it's volatile. And this is, when I get the urge to want to trade, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. When I get the urge to want to trade something that I know I won't lose my shirt on, eventually I'll get it back. T-Fuel and Doge are my two favorite ones to do that with. And we'll talk about Doge here in a little bit too. But here again, a predictor basically way back in September of 22, and a reconfirmation right here. Cha-ching, bang, we rebounded, came down to it a second time. We are now under this, and we are now setting up for a fall to the bottom of this channel, which is down here at about 0.6625. And ultimately, and this is, I'm not going to throw stones because I like the guy, but there was another YouTuber that has a crypto channel. He also has a crypto Discord, and I post. I can't help. I want to help people, and I post, and I say, hey, and they're very pro theta over on that channel, and I post. I say, guys, theta's not happening. Despite what you might want to think about theta, theta's not happening. In fact, and I showed this. And I showed my track record for hitting these things all along, and they summarily removed me from their Discord just for making the post and even daring to besmirch Theta. But I'm here to tell you, I would rather you know than get the Moon Boy disease and start thinking this thing is going to take off, because it's not. Most of the people that are investing in Theta are doing on the say-so of YouTubers that don't understand exactly how this thing ties into the real world and into hardware applications, et cetera, et cetera. And the technology is wonderful. I believe completely in it, but it's not the right time in history. It's just not the right time. We're not ready for it. The way that I've always explained this to past live streams to subscribers is this is an entertainment coin. We have serious issues in this world right now to deal with. I mean, yes, you're watching Monday Night Football and your soccer games and whatever. Pardon me, football games. Whatever. But this is an entertainment-based coin. Theta TV, et cetera, et cetera. And the world does not need, same as Zill. I'll badmouth Zill a little bit here in a bit. But we're not ready for that right now. We have real world issues. The big boys, big players, money people have to come and get their seat at the table before the lesser coins shuffle up to the counter and take the scraps. This is not ready for prime time yet. Probably won't be for another year, year and a half, potentially 2 years. The latter part of 2024 is where I see most things taking off. So we got plenty of time for this, and we definitely can make it down into these areas within the next 2023 into 2024. That ain't no thing. Now, looking at going back, let's get that out of there. Looking at T Fuel. I like T Fuel. T Fuel, I see a time when T Fuel will probably be $1. Not right now. It's trading at 3 cents. Remember when T Fuel just wouldn't get under 25 cents? I told everybody eventually this is going to fall under 25 cents. Lo and behold, she fell down to 20, and then she fell down to 15, and then she fell to 10, and everybody was kind of like, well, this thing's kind of going to go down, and then pretty much nobody had any hope for this thing to ever rebound. But it will rebound. But again, it's going to take probably 600-700 days before we do that. And so meanwhile, you're going to have volatility all along. Let me read your comment here. For any idea of ballpark time frame for the uplift in the money to sell off? Yeah, I'll try to work that into my rant here. So let me keep on track here. So basically, what Christine's asking is she wants to recoup her losses. Well, the problem is when everything starts to ascend, your crap coins are going to go with it, and you're just sideways trading. So I mean, and I'm speaking very very broadly. So please understand this. If crap coin A and value coin B are both going down, and you sell crap coin A to buy crap coin B at the prices we are now, then basically is that not effectively, and I'm being very loose with my descriptor here, the same as when both coins go up and you're trading one for another? It's probably a good idea to sell it now if you're wanting to do that, and at least be positioned for further drop. Because if you're holding anything, you've been around long enough, you should know better than ask a question like that. If you're holding anything you don't want to be in, I've been telling you, get the hell out for a long, long time. So if you're holding anything you shouldn't be in, you should be getting out of it now, because it's only going to get uglier and lesser and lesser and lesser. Take what scraps you still have left in these shit coins, and try to regroup and get them again next time. Buy something better the next time. So when will it start to turn around? April, not February. April, springtime. End of Q2. I would say probably March, and I'll kind of elaborate on that a little bit. March, what we're going to see in March, and this is not my opinion, this is fact. What we're going to see is in March is we're going to see the big boys with the ISO coins really start to do something that's become public, that you can sink your teeth into. You can see, well, they really are using this, and you can see, yeah, it really is having application, because they have some set in stone paperwork that they're putting out right now saying, we have a deadline of March to do this and yada yada right on down the line. They've given us the time frame. All you got to do is just read the white papers or read the reports they're putting out. March is going to be pivotal. But April, April's when things are going to really start to get a move on. Spring, new growth, better attitude, whatever. I can get into that later on. But the backside of 2023 will start to look hopeful for most things. So it's impossible to zero in on what coin you're talking about or whatever. But if it were me, and I'm again speaking very vaguely, if it were me, I would probably just cut my losses on anything I'm not in love with right now and just kind of regroup, because we have so much more to fall. I mean, look at it this way. If you're holding something right now at this price and a coin you really do want to get in on is still set to fall 70, 80, 90%, you got the money to do it. Because if you're selling everything at the bottom trying to make a sideways trade, you're not going to do that well with it. All right, so anyway, back to T-Fuel. This thing's just been a bot march. They're maneuvering this thing, and I should bring that over a little bit here. So we're right within the zone. We're about ready to fall out here and tap this. We've had a double call right here. Once we hit this, we'll be falling down. Our next move is expected is to see T-Fuel at about 2 cents, guys. And I would strongly, and if you guys want to swing trade, right there is your swing trade zone. It doesn't get any easier than that, because you're going to have a hard resistance right there. So you got basically a zone between high and low right there, basically. And I would imagine you probably, and that's a pretty wide path, but I would say probably half that. You have roughly a 30% profit opportunity there. I always like to kind of cut the averages in half. You have anywhere from probably a 30, 35, if you're lucky, 40% that you can make on the swing trade with T-Fuel. Hot Watch will have these things marked. I can see Hot Watch markers on here. So if you guys are subscribed to Hot Watch, you'll see the markers telling you time to buy. So all right. So been seeing a little bit of talk about Atom Cosmos recently, and I don't really usually cover an awful lot of it, but again, boy, this thing has really, really fallen. It really has. I mean, we were clear up there in the $40, $45 range, but we came down. I just haven't been following it just because I haven't been feeling the love, and for good reason. I see this is not a head and shoulder pattern, but it's close enough to consider it, and I'm seeing sub $3 as basically a reality. Very, 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 very soon we're going to be seeing this price here. But it's not going to surprise me here very soon to be seeing probably in $6.5. And when we do, we'll see a pause sideways, and then we'll take another breather. I've gotten this far into the live stream without really kind of going back and retouching on my major thesis, which is this. Currently, everything is falling right now. What's making it happen? Well, you could point to, FTX and stuff like that. Fair enough. But what was making it fall before that revelation came to light? It just was. Well, it was a bad economy, but okay, fine. What's going to happen when we get a major, major worldwide catastrophe? Let's say the aliens land on the White House a nuclear strike. We actually literally go to war. I mean, the real big boy stuff, the real heavy, heavy stuff. What's going to happen to crypto then? That's what's going to put these things down, these 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% drops. This has been my thesis all along. You ain't seen nothing yet, kids. If you think these are falls just basically because that's where they're supposed to be and the crypto market's just down and it can't get any worse, oh, it can get much worse, and it will. Just think about it. I mean, it's been a good long time since we had a good old-fashioned September 9/11. And so we get another one of those, I assure you, every single target I'm showing you is going to get click, click, click. You're going to see anybody, well, I didn't see that coming. I can't tell you what's going to force it down here. I can just show you that the bots, using statistical analysis going back since the inception of this coin, has averaged this thing out with great probability of hitting exactly to the pixel right there. So although I cannot tell you what will ultimately force that news-wise to this point, I'm telling you that's the mark. Assign whatever reason you're going to want to assign to it, but right there is the target. Now, would I want to own Atom? I'm a big proponent of not trying to have everything. Crypto is kind of a buffet, and there's 36,000 entrees offered, and that's just too much. That's just too much. So you have to let a few of these go under the bridge. You just do. If this is something, if you're into NFTs and whatever, which Adam has a Cosmos, I should be saying it that way. Cosmos has ties to NFTs and stuff like that. I don't give a crap about NFTs. It's just not my jam. I don't care about it. So I would probably let this one go by. However, I will tell you that you do get a little bit of return for owning this and stuff. Actually, fairly decent for what it is. It always has been a solid performer, and I think it'll do very, very well. I think it's one that will survive the big shakeout that's coming. Regulation will put a lot of these things in the dirt and keep them there. We're going to see a lot of these, and we're going to cover a couple here coming up. I can't remember the one that I want specific. When I see it, I'll remember. There is one that's going to go into the negatives. I don't want to talk too far ahead of myself here, but there's going to be a lot of coins that are going to go down. They're going to stay down. They're never to return again. I believe Atom will probably bounce up with fair amount of certainty. I believe that it's an old school coin. It's been around for a good long time. I think there's a place in the crypto universe for atoms, so I think it'll come back up. But that being said, if we're just looking at the general drop to right here, that's 69%, well within what I expect. Easy. All it takes is 3 days of crappy 20% drops, and we can go there. Super, super easy. Yeah, NFTs, I don't even want to go down the NFT road tonight, guys. I just don't play it. I just don't play it. I have a very good a very good history, a very long history with the art market and stuff like that. When it looks like a scam and it smells like a scam, it probably is a scam. It's just like, how could you look at some of this stuff? Don't even get me started. How can you look at some of this stuff and go, well, you paid $1 million for that? Like, you're a fucking idiot. You just are. It's worth this or it's worth that. Okay, you say so. Greater fool theory, I suppose. Now, when NFTs start to get adopted for things like patents and real adult use stuff, which I think it will, I think the technology of NFT is brilliant. But what it's being used for right now is nothing but Pokemon cards and Trump cards, which I say these things and it kind of gets me spin. The thing with the Trump cards, I'm done. I'm really done. I'm kind of agnostic about any kind of political party right now. But I somewhat supported the idea that he would come back and possibly not be the savior or whatever. But after that last thing with the NFTs, I'm so over it, guys. I don't want to listen to anything he has to say anymore. And we've listened to a couple of things in the 21 group, and we've studied some of his connections to the jab. I mean, he was right out there pushing it just like everybody else. I'm like, how could you be on the good guy team and be telling everybody, to go out there and stick that stuff in their body? I lost my neighbor Dave. A lot of you guys have been with me for a while. Dave was a big Trump supporter. Went out and didn't get a chance to get the shot. He died too quick. He ended up getting COVID, and they healed him to death in the hospital. $300,000 bill for his widow. But he was a huge Trump supporter, and he'd been right there with his sleeve rolled up. So I got no understanding for someone that would say, well, it's just part of the master plan. It's like, no, it's not. So, we're being sold out. It's to each his own. Take care of yourself because no one's coming to save you. That's basically my position on that. But NFTs is what we were talking about. NFTs are the technology is it's a good technology, and I believe that it will last a good long time and it will find functionality. But right now, I choose not to be a part of that. Oh, thank you very much, guys. I had a chance. Before I took off to Thailand. Oh God, I wish I had my motorcycle over here right now, man. I'm telling you what, it's 75 degrees. It's just gorgeous over here. I'm not over here during the hot part of the year. I hear it can get upwards of about 135, but yeah, this is an area where you want to have a motorcycle, and I wish I would have shipped my motorcycle. I'm going to be over here potentially, probably for about 3 or 4 months. So. How many guys are new on the live stream, never heard me before? I mean, I'm listening to me. You have to understand that I have ADD. I'm Scottish and I have ADD, which is a lethal combination. So I have a tendency to when something comes into my head, it's like talk about me, talk about me, talk about me. It's like having a voice in my head. I got to talk about it, so it'll shut up. So you kind of get like three hosts at once when you listen to this live stream. Thank God for the miracle of rewind. You can always go back and listen to what you need to hear. All right, so somebody was asking about, let's kind of stick with the program here. VeChain, VeChain, this is another McDonald's money thing. I really, honestly, I love VeChain. I see so much future use for it, but just not yet. Just not yet. Boy, look at that price, zero point zero 0.01 cents. Would it be a smart buy right now? In the broader sense of things, it sounds like an absolutely beautiful price. But wait, there's more. How'd you like to pay 0.00925? That's a conservative buy. We're seeing prices of probably 0.007. Anywhere in this general area, back the truck up and just take back the pop cans, sell blood, do whatever, sell a kidney, borrow a kidney, whatever you got to do. I seriously would suggest, no matter who you are at whatever level, you get yourself some of this because it's a tracking coin. I've said this many, many times. I hate to repeat myself, but some of you guys are new. This is a coin that's used for tracking inventory, is basically the oversimplified way of doing this. I'll give you the nickel tour of this. This is a coin that's used. DHL, third largest shipper in the world, implemented this. That is a huge, huge vote of confidence from a major player with credibility. Major. This is not an also ran coin. This thing's going to have, is what we call, this thing is going to have legs. It's going to be around for a long, long time. It's being used by the Chinese government. It's being used for their records. It's also being used for production. Where's production at these days? It's in China. Okay, great. So VeChain basically is inventory control. Let me segue a little bit here too. I don't want to get too far down. We were watching this, and so far it's just been kind of a bit of a pooch. Where are you at? Damn it! See if I can find it. I'm starting to get too many of these coins. I can't keep them all straight. Come on, where are you at? There we are. XYO. XYO, I believe, no one's ever said this, but it's just my belief. XYO is a tracking coin also. Basically, it's a geolocating coin. So in my mind, and I haven't looked at the price for a while, in my mind, I believe these coins are basically in the same quote unquote market. However, XYO, which is traded on Coinbase, XYO has had no love. We were trading it when it was very volatile. Some of us made some money, some of us got out with our with our ass, but it was going great there for a while, and all of a sudden, it was good till it wasn't. I believe that this thing, if it can get its act together, I believe that this thing will be a survivor. And I think it's basically what it uses is everybody's cell phone. Like you can put a chip in a package and you can take it across town or across the world. And if you're in proximity to three other people that have the XYO app on their phone or whatever, you can say, hey, that box has just hit the Atlanta airport or it just went down Maple Street and blah blah blah, and it puts everything into blockchain, so you can literally watch. It's a logistics coin. Let's just put it that way, and you can watch your stuff go through the block. You can watch your stuff go through the entire shipping process, tied in with inventory control, which would be VeChain. I believe the two can work hand in hand. And I've said this, and it's been a while since I've kind of mentioned this, but I think, and I haven't really heard anybody say this too much, but I think it's probably time we had this discussion. I think a lot of these coins, I just mentioned, a lot of these coins are going to go in the dirt and they're not going to come back. Think about a business that goes out of business. What happens? Well, they sell the computers and the desks and the chairs, and they just find their way into other places in the world and whatever. Corporate raiders are big on this. I know a couple of them that they buy up companies and they liquidate them. Okay, well, when you liquidate a company, what you're doing is you're basically taking the usable assets, shelling everything else out, and basically selling off the assets individually. So let's take, for example, the XYO as our victim. Let's say XYO is not able to make the cut, but the technology, as I've just described to you vaguely, is very viable, very useful, and something that should be implemented. And I'm speaking completely hypothetical, what say VeChain is swelled with cash from the success from its known ties to the Chinese government, its known ties to DHL and whatever other contracts it's done. And let's say they basically end up with a whole bunch of money and they're like, I think we need tax time's coming. We need to go buy another company. We need to buy some stuff to write off some. So what they could do is they go, hey, this XYO company is kind of on the rocks right now. It can't get their shit together, but they really do have a very nice technology. Let's say we buy them and roll their company into our portfolio as part of our collection of offerings. Are you following what I'm saying? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? This is what you're going to see. I don't believe I've ever heard anybody say this, but I believe this is, within YouTube talking about the future of the shakeout. A shakeout of a coin does not necessarily mean that everything involving that coin goes away. There are real world technologies that are being developed that are useful, but they're just backed by people that can't run a business, or they're backed by low PR, or they're backed by, just not enough adoption or whatever. But at the core, they might have something that's usable. And there are people that are trained to go out and find those things and basically buy up companies and take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and put it together. And you see this stuff happen all the time with brick and mortar stores all the time. Case in point, well, hell, let's look at Amazon. Amazon bought Whole Foods. Now, why the hell would Whole Foods have anything to do with a bookseller back in the day? Take yourself way back. That's what Amazon was a bookseller. Master plan was, they're going to become a distributor and they're going to get into food. Well, if they're into food, well, wouldn't it be cool if we had a street level dealer? Whole Foods. Whole Foods ties very, very nicely with Amazon, does it not? And so these two companies have merged together. And so that's the way things work, and that's the way they're going to work with crypto. And so you heard it here first, folks. That's basically what you can expect to see. So something like XLM, to get back to VeChain, I believe VeChain is a very, very strong buy for you guys, all of you. Absolutely everybody within the sound of my voice should be owning some of this. Crypto Passport, that's over my pay grade. Can I touch a little bit on Crypto Passport? Um, that's social credit score. Guys, I probably, some of you guys that are new on live stream, I hate to bring this into it all the time, but it's necessary so you know who I am and who you're listening to. Um, I'm involved with some of the most powerful psychics on the planet, and some military people, and some remote viewers, and whatever. And that's what we refer to, or I refer to, as the 21 group. In order to do that, and there are members that are military intelligence that are in that, and in order for me to talk about some things, I have to be cleared. And I would love to tell you my story about my girlfriend's funeral in Cuba. However, I cannot do it. I've been told no bueno, cannot do it. Some things were said at that funeral through one of the channelers that basically was earth shaking, to put it lightly, and I'm not allowed and I'm not vetted to say anything yet about it. So anyway, to kind of get back to that, I'm not clearanced and I have not been debriefed to be able to talk about crypto passports. But I will honestly tell you that it's not really in my wheelhouse. But crypto passports are basically, social credit score. That's where I can leave that. And it's coming sooner than you think. Sickening as it is, it's coming. All right, let's see if I can hit. So somebody asked about Dent. Dent, to go back and talk about this coin. I have a soft spot for this coin because one of our dearly departed members, Lenny, brought this into. Thank you very much. How many of you guys are new? I feel like I'm just rambling here, and it's hard to talk to a screen sometimes, guys. I really appreciate the fact that you guys, come and give me so much love for the things that I do, because sometimes I feel like it's like, what are you doing? I feel like I'm just talking and talking and talking. I'm used to speaking on stage to people. When I don't get a visual feedback, I kind of feel like I'm talking a mile a minute because I'm only listening to myself. So it's refreshing to kind of get that feedback from you guys. But how many of you guys are new on live stream? You'll kind of get used to my style with time. I'm an acquired taste, as anybody will tell you in here. I'm not like any YouTuber. I'm not like any YouTuber you'll probably find in crypto. Um, anyway, back to Dent. Dent was brought to us by Lenny. He was I believe he was in Wisconsin. A Wisconsin farmer, owned a crap ton of this stuff. Came in, wanted to be a diamond, our high level investor group, and he said, "Do you take Dent?" And I'm like, "Oh, all right." And I looked at it and I went, "Yeah, I take Dent." And so to kind of go back here, I'll have to go back to the Dent 1 week. This was over a year ago. I looked at this, and this was right where he offered it to me. And I looked at this, and just before I took it, I believe it was like, well, this isn't right about here's where I got it. On the green line is where I got it. I looked at it, I plugged it into the ISIS system, and then Anubis wasn't fully developed at that point in time. I looked at it and I said, "You darn right, I take it," because what I had seen is I had seen this. I'd seen it long, long ago. I predicted it and saw it, and shortly after accepting it, this thing rocketed 250%, and I cashed out. This is probably one of the best trades that I did last year. And so Dent is a pay-as-you-go phone card. You know, we'll get into the greatest hits stories that I always tell all the time. This is a pay-as-you-go phone, pay-as-you-go electric, pay-as-you-go everything. Is the way of the world. I've been in Africa. I've had girlfriends in Africa. I've been in the Philippines. I've been in several different places. Those are the two that I spend most time in. And um, this is the way things work. You pay, you get a little bit of money, you buy yourself 8 hours of phone usage or whatever, and that's what Dent is. And so when I saw this, I'm like, oh yes, this is what's coming. And Energy Web is another one, and we'd never talk about Energy Web because that one's not ready for prime time yet. But in Kenya, if you buy units of energy, and there's like a little thing that looks like a pocket calculator you plug into your wall, and you literally just use that to buy credits for electricity, and you'll be sitting there watching TV and just everything just goes black on you because your credits ran out. No one comes and climbs a pole and plugs you back in or whatever. You do everything using that little thing that's plugged into your wall. And that's what the world, we have smart meters in America right now. We're ready to go, man. We're ready for that already. So Dent, it's in that ecosystem. So am I a believer in Dent? I'm not going to come out categorically and say yes, but the technology and the direction that Dent is headed, absolutely. But see, we have gone into our first wave, second wave, third wave. This is played out exactly as I said it was going to play out. I mean, look how accurate this system is. Crazy, crazy accurate. Boom, 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 to the pixel. And so I said, this is how it's going to play. So some people play that wave right there, which was not a bad. And I said, it's time to just, throw Den under the desk and don't look at it for a while. So we had a little bit of a weird pump here for some reason. My thought is that this thing is going to go for a while, but we have to kind of get back down here. I don't really think I want to be a buyer or a taker on this thing until it kind of gets down to absolute floor levels. I'm not ready to jump in on this, and this wouldn't be something I would probably be buying. This would be like just leftover money. I've got a couple $1,000. I want to buy something. I'll buy Dent, whatever. Because again, I was starting to make the point earlier before I sidetracked myself. You're sitting at a buffet with 36, 42,000. Hell, I don't even know how many cryptos are out there anymore. You can't own them all, guys. You can't own them all. You're going to have to pick the ones you like. You're going to have to make smart decisions with your money. I've had people come into this group. I kid you not. They're still with us to this day. Been with them. I had to iron a lot of you people out when you first came into this group. I had some people coming into this group that had 300, 400 coins. I'm like, what? Pardon my language. What the fuck are you doing? I mean, that's the only thing I could say. And they go, what do you mean? I'm like, did you buy everything someone stuck in front of you? Apparently so. And I'm like, what are you doing? And I like, let me take you down a journey for a second. You watch me long enough to know this stuff all goes down together. It all goes up together. When we have a day where everything's pumping and everything's pumping together, imagine that day when you got 400 coins. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You would never be able to get out of it. You wouldn't be able to exit this stuff. And so for that reason, I have told a lot of you guys who have asked me, how many coins should I own? Well, you don't ask me how many coins. I always end up telling you. I don't own any more than 6 in a given time, and that's a handful. I own some long term that I don't want to get rid of. Those would be my XRP, my XLM. I own sample platter. Exactly. But I had a gal that came in. She was a corporate lawyer. She came in and I think she had like 340 coins. I'm like, oh, good God. And I'm like, get rid of that. And some of this coins, I have never even heard some of this stuff. So get rid of it. Get rid of it. Go, 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 go. I mean, but, this is going to go up. Okay. And some of this stuff was, I'm just going to kind of free farm here just a little bit. Some of the stuff was like persistence. Oh my God, get rid of this damn thing. Get rid of it. I mean, persistence is going to do what? Because somebody on YouTube told you this thing was going to be a winner. Hasn't been so far. Ditch it. So, and I just to kind of make my point on this, this conversation was had up here. I said get rid of it. Was I wrong? Am I going to be wrong? No. This thing is a turd. I'm telling you right now. This thing started right here and it's ending right here. Persistence is nothing. And so I said, get out of persistence, put it into something that's going to make some money. So she listened to me on that one, plus a whole host of other stuff. Stuff like Orchid. Orchid was another crap coin. Some of you guys that want to kind of sample platter some of the stuff that I do, we do have, I can't remember. We have basically a shitcoin sample pack. If you just want to kind of trade some small stuff, we have small little entry level charts that you can subscribe to over at fibbycharts.com. If you don't want to be in the VIP, you want to kind of test me out, see if I'm the real deal. You can join, you can kind of watch the charts, follow the live streams and stuff like that. We do have a bronze level, we do have a silver level, which you can get in on 29 bucks. And this covers basically the major coins, and this one covers a little bit the major plus the second tier coins and stuff like that. But as you make a couple bucks, then you can move up here into the big leagues. But this right here is where you ultimately want to be, and before you turn pro and get into the platinum and pro and the diamond. But if you want to kind of see what it is that I do, you can do that. And so these guys came in and I showed them, get into the prime coins that have something that's worth a damn, and get rid of this stuff, because the point that I was making is, how are you going to process that when everything starts blasting off? It's just going to be a friggin' free for all trying to get rid of all this stuff. I mean, it takes a certain amount of time to trade and set up the sell of a coin or whatever. And the other question that I asked this gal was, do you have target prices for any of these things? No, you just hold them. Someone told me to buy them. Okay. So how many of you have heard stories of, coins that have gone just stratospheric and then dropped? Populous being probably the chief among them. Um, that's the mark of someone that had no exit strategy. That's a mark of someone that didn't follow the thing up, step by step by step underneath it with a stop loss, because that is inexcusable to me to lose that kind of money. I've heard stories from people that have made $1 million in Populous and then they lost it all. And I'm like, you didn't have a stop loss? No. You had no game plan. You just bought and held and hoped. That hope is not a plan. We do not trade on hope in this website and in this YouTube channel. And so you'd never want to do that. All right, so we'll get rid of that. So as far as Dent goes, I believe in Dent, but Dent is just kind of a sideways trade for me right now. It's just not something I want to do. So my prime coins, I'm looking at the ISO coins. As I said, the beginning of 2022, this is the year of the ISO coin. These are the coins that are going to be, talked about the most, and I was right. And so you just haven't seen the emergence. Here's Energy Web, by the way. You just haven't seen an awful lot of anything else. There's been some superstars here and there. There's always going to be, but there just hasn't been an awful lot of stuff going on. Early on in 2022, we heard an awful lot about the metaverse. And again, that's an electronics related thing. I talked about that, and I told you that when Meta finally rolls out its ultimate grand plan, you're going to see coins like Sand and Gala ascend, because these two are basically intrinsically linked to Meta's activity. And until Meta does something, Sand won't do anything and Gala won't do anything. And it's exactly right. Bang, down she goes. Just exactly right. What was this all about? This, if you guys know, was when Meta came out and said, oh, this is what Meta is, and everybody's like, oh my God, and everybody just, this is just amazing, and blah blah blah, and Zuckerberg and his little cartoon avatar was all over the place. And then the very next thing that happens with investors is they go, oh, this is brilliant. What else is related to this? I want this. I want to collect them all. If Pokemon is cool and Pikachu is the main thing. What else can I get in Pokemon? It's just that kind of thing. Gotta collect them all type thing. And so Sand was getting its little due run up because of its success by association, and so was Gala, and so was a handful of others. And now that the advertising, now that the PR, now that all the feel good, now all the we're all going to be millionaires is the air is starting to leave the tires, starting to settle back down to where it started off at pre-hype. This was all hype. This is massive hype and capitulation of realization going down. So we're clear down here into sub levels. Now, will this thing reascend? I don't play the game of saying, okay, well, we went here one time, so we can do it again. This is old news to me. I don't give a crap about this. Will we ever get this high again? I can't tell you yet, but I don't usually look at these things as an indicator, these past performance as an indicator of anything that's going to happen, because we're living in a new decade, or we're living in a new year, we're living in a new future, we're living in so many new things coming out there, that the world is a different place over here than it was over here. So all this activity is in and of itself a place in time that has no bearing on this at all. So what you're going to see is, we have to kind of take this and go sideways and saying, what you're going to see is we're going to go sideways and down here as the market collapses. We're going to go considerably lower, not that lower to be zero, but we're going to go considerably lower. Now, will this wash out? Don't rule it out. I mean, unless Sand has got some strong technology, I don't know. I don't follow it, but unless it's got some strong technology that can see it through, it might wash out. But assuming it doesn't, we could go for a good long time on into April. Here's April right here, probably go about here, and then she'll start to show signs of life. But I can tell you exactly where it will ascend to is it'll go right here first before it goes anywhere. So we'll go from wherever it is up to about $3, and it'll park for a while, and it'll probably trade in that area for a while. Basically, it'll just do a mirror version of this, just the opposite up. Would I want to bank on it and tie any money up? I would only use scrap money to do it. I would not be screwing with this thing currently. It's just too much of a long hold. I don't mess with DAG. I don't trade it. I don't chart it. All right, so let's get back on. So there's a few we want to talk about here that I still want to stay on top of here. I kind of get on my little rants, and I want to make sure I cover the important things here. It's going to be kind of a long live stream here, so pour the coffee. It's going to be a big one here. So you guys have not been with me for a long time. I am known to do 8 and 9 hour live streams. I'm not going to do one tonight, but I have a history of doing. I think the longest live stream I did was 11 hours constantly of this. It's a bit of a haul. So, but I won't be doing that tonight. Polkadot. So let's cover Cardano right now. Cardano, I don't feel it, guys. I don't. I call this is one of those I told you so's. Look at this damn call. This thing happened on October 30th, on my birthday of this year, October 30th. I told everybody when this thing was on the ascension, right here on this candle, I said this thing, Anubis is our bot, our predictor bot, our statistical, a long-term statistical probability bot, said this thing is going to go to 0.022, and I put the line here, and basically everybody said, no, Cardano's going to turn around, it's at the bottom, and down she went, lower and lower and lower. Is there any doubt that we're going to hit that line? That was a rather Herculean call to make, to really hang myself out there and say we're going to take a 47% drop. But look where we're at now. In a matter of, and it took 65 days to do it, inside of 3 months. So our bots can see this stuff so far out that it's just like you question this stuff, and then all of a sudden it turns and it starts to come to pass, and you're like, that's a hell of a thing. And this is by no means the best of the best that I'm going to show you tonight. All right, so we were going to be going down. This is not the floor. We're going to go even lower than this. So I'm just not in love with this thing. There's the floor. If you so choose to want to buy this, wouldn't touch it until we get under 10 cents. 9 cents thereabouts. And now this predictor came in on July, clear back in July. So we're looking at how many days, and this predictor here. These things are not for nothing, man. They are serious calls. Let's see, we would need, let's see, hold on, get my tool here. We would need a 60% drop, well within what I expect. Again, what happens if we go to war? What happens if we get another 9/11? What happens if the aliens land on the White House and take Joe Biden back to his home planet? You know what? Whatever. I mean, can we do a 60% drop? Absolutely we can. Absolutely we can. We did. We did more than that already. You can see how it is. Basically, sometimes it's hard to wrap your mind around. It's like, oh, 60%, that's a lot. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. That's basically the way the old saying goes. So yeah, we will get there. So if we get down into this area sub, what did I say, sub 10 cents, and you feel inclined to buy it, God bless you. Not with my money. I'm not doing it. For any money that I would spend on Cardano, let me kind of sum this up a little bit. Let me give you some what if A/B comparisons. Sometimes this comes to me at the last minute. So let's say we get down to 10 cents on this. Let's take a 60% drop. I'm gonna speak very vaguely here. So Cardano is rumored to be an ISO coin. Not yet. It's rumored. It doesn't have a seat at the table yet. Okay, so let's assume that you listen to Crypto Crow, who's a huge proponent of this. I like Jason, but he's all about this. He's invested. It's an ego thing here, not to take anything away from him, but he's kind of got a lot on the line here with this thing. He doesn't, come on, baby, and it's like, when you're in, you're in. Sometimes logic goes out the window when your money's at risk. So, he's hell or high water. He's going to make this thing go. He's going to will it to be. So be it. I hope the best for him. But that being said, so let's say let's just make it 10 cents, or let's just make it an even 60% drop. If we drop from here down 60%, meanwhile, the whole rest of the market generally speaking, such as this, which is already a lower price than Cardano and does have a seat at the table and is proven and is adopted and is ready to rock and roll, it drops the same amount. You'll be down here in sub penny. So what do you want to do? Do you want to spend 10 cents and get one coin, or do you want to spend 10 cents and get 10 coins, or 20 coins, or 30, or 40, or whatever the division is whenever we get clear down here to fractions of a penny? So XDC has a stronger buy opportunity. It is a stronger value proposition. It is a much more safe and stable investment. Cardano has no place in my investment portfolio, point blank. XDC would take that and would just quash it. All right, so now I've shit on that enough. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I actually, some of you guys don't like him, some of you do, whatever. I listened to was it Charles, the head guy? I listened to him talk about liberties and freedoms. He put a live stream out. Just a very well spoken man. Say what you want to say about his coin. You don't like his logo or whatever. You don't like the color of his logo. Fuck, I don't care. But whatever. The guy is very, very intelligent. Whether you like his politics or personally the way he dresses, or who cares. But I think that it will be a survivor. But again, I can't. There's not enough room in my 6-passenger boat. There just isn't. Now, Aave, we talked about Aave. That's a 15-minute. Aave was one that for the longest time, this thing was just rocking. Um, I kind of have to put this in the lens of what made this happen. I don't know for a fact, but I recall off the top of my head, this is a layer 1 2 solution. So this is going to be a survivor, undeniably. This thing got up to $667.67, give or take. Just astronomical run up, and it looked like it was coming down. It looked like it was going to go back up, but I was just kind of telling everybody, it's cool and all, but I'm not going to go out there and run and spend $250 on a stinking coin. I can take $250 and buy however many XRP at the time or however many XLM at the time. These three digit coins are insane. Anybody that would spend that kind of money is just not getting good value proposition for their dollar. So I told everybody, just wait for something. I didn't have a target in price, but by the time I started to pay attention again, I started to see these numbers of 86 and 21, and they're coming to pass. Now, what made this run up? I don't know for a fact, but I can tell you I strongly suspect that this was in the FTX portfolio. If I'm not mistaken, somebody do the math or somebody do the investigation for me and verify what I'm saying here because I'm just spitballing. But some of these coins that went just ballistic were probably doing it with the insider trading or the churning and stuff of FTX. I strongly have a gut feeling that this right here was probably easily FTX at play. Probably even anything above that, to be honest. So because when you take FTX out of the thing, I mean things were starting to fall apart back here in November, so that would be about right. Things were starting to come out about FTX falling apart and whatever. That's just about right there where things just started to run out. So it's highly likely that its current price is more reflective of reality. Now that's not to say that this is not a good coin, but it is. It is. But at this point in time, I'm not getting the vibe that I want to put it as one of the six in my boat. I think that if you are one of those that really does believe in diversity, you want to have maybe 20 coins just to be very diverse, I would probably put it on a 20 coin list, but it would be towards the bottom of that 20 coins. And it wouldn't be at these prices. I'd be looking considerably lower than we're marking right now. I'm not watching it for bottom targets yet. I'll pick that up when we get to that point, but we've got a ways to go before we hit the bottom. So now Polkadot's another one. For a long time, I owned some Polkadot for a while. I made a little bit of money on it. I wasn't intending on holding it for a while, but when I saw this, I'm like, no, 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 no. I want out because I told you this was going to go down. When I saw this is basically a double top or an M formation, and you take that pit to point and you put it right here, and whoops, excuse me, you take that and put it right there, and that's what you get. Down she goes, and she's not done dropping yet. I know it's kind of a sloppy alignment there, but I saw this coming months ago, so I didn't want to be in Polkadot. Now, do I want to be in Polkadot later? Possibly, possibly. Some people call this the kind of the poor man's public Ethereum. I'm not much of a tech nerd enough to give a crap to do the homework to figure it out. I look at the technicals. I can make quite a bit of money. But here's again another one, another epic call. This one's a honey. 82.25% drop call. And look where we're at. That's called a ping, boys and girls. 82.62% call. Find anyone on YouTube with that degree of accuracy, and I'll buy you lunch. So this is what our system does for you guys that are new to live stream. We're going to be getting into probably the little more technical stuff. So this is why we call this the unfair advantage. One of the things I'm a big proponent of, some of the long timers here are starting to pick up my lingo. Patience. We teach patience. Crypto is an incredibly fast turnover, but let's be realistic. This is powered by humans, and humans take a while to get to the point sometimes. You're not going to go from point A to point B like that. I mean, that's the way legends work. That's the way stories are told. But in the reality of having to sit day after day after day after day and watch this stuff either go up or down, it took to get from this point to this point, took 279 days, almost around three quarters of a year to go from point A to point B. But I told you it was going there, and it took all that time to get there. So patience wins this game. So this is one of the things I'm prepping you guys at the start of this year to tell you: don't get your hopes up. Don't get all revved up to think, this is going to be the year. Oh my God, I'm on Twitter and I'm watching these people. 2023 is going to be the year. Well, pardon me, but wasn't that what they were saying at the start of 2022 and 2021 and on and on and on and on? No, it's not going to be the year. Mathematically, statistically, probability, chart-wise, I can demonstrate that very, very clearly. You ain't getting out of 2023 with a moonshot. Not gonna happen. Broadly speaking, not gonna happen. It takes a while to go down. It takes a while to go up. You have to have patience. In the grander scheme of things, I should speak on this too. We've lost a lot of subscribers, and I consider you all to be my friends. I care about each and every one of you. It's not, my diamonds spend a lot of money, to be in the diamond category. It's been a bad year. And, so even the diamonds aren't making a killer amount of money. It's been a bad year. There's been stuff in and out, but every single one of you, what I was saying is we've lost some subscribers because you just can't. I hate to lose any subscribers, but you're now to the point where you're eating your crypto to pay your bills, and I did forecast that as well. I did tell a lot of you, we're going to lose some. I felt like a general just before going into battle. It's going to be a tough war. We're going to lose a few of you guys along the way. you know, but just like I called it, is just like I'm seeing it. I told you that this is going to be an ungodly year, and we're going to lose some of you, and it's exactly what happened. To name names, you'd be surprised how many of you I know by name, whether they're still around, whether they're not. Bullish Chica and Wanda Woman, they're twins. They were with us. They call themselves McDonald's money. Love the gals. They had their heart in it. They really wanted XRP to be, and I watched them slowly, slowly, slowly fade away. And I wonder, are they still out there? Or I wonder, did they turn their back on crypto, going, well, this lottery ticket didn't work for me. I wonder how many of you guys are still listening to me going, tomorrow's going to be the day, or I don't want to give anybody false hope. I'm not trying to string anyone along, for another month or whatever, just to keep them on the hook. I want you to know this is a long-term investment. I'm a real estate investor by trade. That's where I made my bones at. And you do not make, I do, because I trade foreclosures. I'm a freak. I can make money in in down markets, but generally speaking, when you're a real estate investor, you look at a real estate investment as a long-term, multi-year investment. You go into it. When you're a bond investor, when you're anything brick and mortar investor, you look at it in terms of years and indeed possibly even decades to get your money. So crypto is a complete anomaly in the scheme of things. And gold, metals, you don't look at that like you're going to be, cashing out anytime soon. Crypto is an anomaly, and it doesn't help that we've got skateboard kids out there saying, oh, it's going to do this, it's going to moonshot, and you just got all this hype cycle going out there. It's the blind leading the blind, and the ignorant pumping up the stupid, and vice versa. And so, this is why I go into Twitter and I just raise hell sometimes. I like popping balloons and shattering egos, but it's just me. But I try to be the voice of reason. You're listening to 3.5 decades of investment. I've made millions of dollars. I've also lost millions of dollars. So there's no reason for you to do it. I've done it for you. Listen to me. Listen to me. If you want it, I stand on the shoulders of billionaires. Some of my best friends are billionaires, and I'm still learning to this day. You're never, when you're done learning is when you're dead. I'm still learning to this day some things, and I have some many stories from 2022. I'm starting to get preachy now, talking to some of you guys and giving you a little bit of a moral backing, and sometimes I'm trying to give you a little bit of a I guess what I would say, pep talk. I'm trying not to be too clinical about crypto. I'm trying to kind of give you the human side of it, or trying to tell you that I've understood. I mean, I lived in a mobile home at one point in time. So I've come out of nothing. Many times I've been busted down to zero. And so I know exactly what every single one of you, no matter how rich or how poor you are, I've been there. Some of you guys that are new to live stream, let me give you a really quick backstory on me. I was one of the I was the largest non-corporate personal landowner in my state before 9/11. I lost multiple millions of dollars within 120 days of real estate after 9/11. Crushed my world, completely just disillusioned me. I was in my late 20s when this happened. A number of things happened. And I'm an engineer by trade, so I started a company called Red Baron Choppers, which became the fastest growing motorcycle company in the world. 2010 happened, crushed yet another multi-million dollar business. And so, strike two. And, being a glutton for punishment, whatever, I will never stay down. It's just not in my makeup. And you can take everything from me, but you cannot take my experience, and you cannot take my knowledge. And, that's just who I am and how I'm wired. And a number of things, divorce, the death of my father, the death of my mother, a lot of other things led me to just, basically wash my hands of this country. And so I convinced myself that it was better to go live in a third world country so I can live cheap, fall back, and regroup. And I moved to General Santos, city in the Philippines, which is the most rural place in the Philippines you can possibly imagine. There were no pavement, there were no paved roads when I lived there. There are now, but there were none. That's where boxer Manny Pacquiao is from, if you guys know who it is, and Manny's an acquaintance of mine. Um, and I lived there for a while, and I got to really see what poverty is like, and I was that way too. I fell into a coma. I had Chase. Some of you guys have heard the name Chase. Chase is my oldest son. He's just an exceptionally smart young man who lived with me, 19 years old, taught himself web programming. I mean, he's the one that creates Fibby charts here. He taught him just it's I'm in awe of this young man, just awe. I mean, I can do some special stuff, but I look at him, I'm just like, some of you guys have been around, seen some of the stuff that he's done, like the computer he just built, crazy, just crazy. Taught himself CAD programming, taught him. And I do that. I've got 7 years and 3 masters, and he's better at it than I am. GM paid $300,000 for my education. He's self-taught, and he's better than I am. So he taught himself sitting at a computer in a third world country in bare feet and flip flops and shorts with no shirt on, sitting at a shitty little desk in basically a 2-car garage. Taught himself all this stuff like that, and we rebuilt ourselves. But I looked around and I got to live among the impoverished, and basically I ran out of money. I went over there with $25,000 thinking I was going to restart my motorcycle company, and it just didn't happen. And so I ran out of money, and I became very desperate, very, very desperate. And I got my child over here, and I'm going to lose everything, and he's going to die. And they don't have any to put it mildly, they will step over a dead body. Nice people, but they will step over a dead body because they see so many of them. So you could just as soon starve to death in the street. No one's going to help you. Charity doesn't exist. And so I had to knuckle down and dig deep in myself, and I started to write books and to download all this stuff, and that's where I'm still to this day getting paid for hundreds and hundreds of books that I wrote while I was over there. And it's helped me survive, and it helped me to work my way back out of it. So I understand what it's like to feel the grip of poverty, and to literally like go, well, I got this one shiny little coin, and if I can hang on to this, maybe I can make a coin and a half, and then the bills come, or then your child is starving, or your child is sick, or you have to buy diapers for the baby, and then you look at that coin you're holding in your hand, and you're going, I don't want to let it go, but you have to, because you need to. It's the worst feeling in the world. It's the most disempowering feeling in the world. And so I feel for you guys. I really do. And so when I come to bat here and I do these live streams, I realize who I'm talking to. So just understand, when I'm giving you these bottom calls, I'm trying to give you hope. When I'm giving you these upper calls, I'm trying to give you hope. So, but I don't want you to have that hope thinking tomorrow it's going to happen. So, you have to ride this ride. So patience is a virtue. It just absolutely is. All right. So let's get back to this. So Polkadot, would I be a buyer of Polkadot? Again, it's nice and whatever, but it's not sexy to me. As my old saying goes, it's just not sexy to me. What is sexy to me is I don't really talk an awful lot about ocean, but reef. I predicted reef long, long ago as being a winner. I believe it's been so long I can't remember what they call. Some of you old schoolers can remember. $3.36 sound right? Does that sound about right? Some of you guys that are in here, I know you've heard my original call, $3.36. When things turn around, Anubis has this thing setting up for $3.36. Now, somebody do the math for me. If we come down to some of these prices, such as this, divide that into $3.36. I don't know if Logical Domain is on. Are you on here with me, buddy? Can you do some quick math for me? Divide that into $3.36 and tell me how many X that is. You will own McDonald's. You will no longer work there. You will own McDonald's with a marginal, a little bit of one single McDonald's paycheck would change your life, change your kid's life, possibly even your grandkids' life. Reef Network is one that, now let me tell you a little story about Reef. Reef, I kind of got this from the inside track. Reef, I just mentioned this to VIP. Reef is Reef Finance, and we did an extensive video. Red Bear did an extensive video, so go to my video collections and find the Red Bear tutorial talking about what Reef Finance is. There's no sense in doing. He did a good enough job on that if you want to know more about it. But these guys are their financial acumen is very very good, and so the takeaway is this: they were on the group, or they were in the group of stuff that was being bought by FTX, and they looked early on, before any of this stuff with FTX came out, and they looked early on, and they went to Freed and they said, we want nothing to do with you. Get rid of our shit. We don't want your stench on us. And I'm paraphrasing heavily. But Reef Network, to its credit, the people that run Reef went to them long before any of this stuff, and they said, we want to cut ties with you. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And then everything happened. It happened. So from a standpoint of are these people running a good business? Do they know what they're doing? That speaks volumes to me. Yeah, 9,600x. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. That means to put that in layman's terms, for every $1 you put in, you get back $9,600 back. So the question I ask you is, how many dollars are you going to put in? Don't answer yet. All right. So can I do Songbird? No, I can't, because we don't have the data. I've got it on the chart, but we can't do the data. I'm kind of going, I'm waiting. TradeView is not giving us the data. I've had this thing here forever and ever and ever, and I'm not getting what I need from them. I hope to at some point. So anyway, back to Reef. The Reef, and I mentioned at the very top of the show, I mentioned that this is an ERC20 coin. Dent is an ERC20 coin. You have to buy that to buy this. So I own a bunch of this that I bought way back, and I flipped it, and I made some money. So basically, I'm operating with bank money. I flipped it, and I got back my capital, and what was left is basically just free money. So I'm holding a pretty good bag of this right now. Yeah, $285,000, not too shabby. Now the question is what does $285,000 buy you in the future? Yeah, that's something you don't want to think about. Maybe a Happy Meal, hopefully. So anyway, down calls. So we're looking at probably in this range. Now I'm not calling this as the ultimate bottom, because I think it's probably gonna, let's go ahead and get that out of there. It's probably gonna go considerably lower. I would say, let's pull a little tape here just to kind of see where we're at. Yeah, we're probably gonna be in that range right there. So I would probably tell you this, if you're kind of wanting to set your sight, use that ISIS line down to about here, right in that range right there. And I'm going to kind of go on record here loosely and say I would call that's the ultimate bottom. That would be your ultimate bottom. Because much lower than that, you start to get into the negatives. So you can only go so low before it basically goes into the dirt and doesn't come back. And again, I believe Reef has got it going on. So I'm not in any kind of paranoia that this is going to go away and take my money. Now, Ocean, it's not an easy coin to get in and out of. It kind of goes through the lesser, and I'm speaking from a North American standpoint. It's not an easy coin to get in and out of because of the exchanges that it's on. However, the opportunity for swing trades is, well, just look. I mean, it's got some pretty wild gyrations, and they're trackable too. Because look at this. I'm just going to be vague here. From here to here, there's one. There's another to the point. I mean, it's pretty damn predictable. There's another one. There's a point. So it's pretty predictable. See, this is the cycles that the ISIS program and the Anubis program are running on. It looks for market cycles. It looks for these sways, and we'll cover that a little bit more. I'm going to wait. I'm on a real big promotion thing going on right now with Twitter and with YouTube and stuff. I'm kind of get back and start to grow our subscriber base a little bit. At some point in time, I'm going to go back and kind of get back to basics and explain how the whole system works and how the bots work. And we are still working on the online learning program. That kind of got put because my trip to Thailand kind of got put aside. But we do have a 45-minute video for you guys that are new to live stream that are over on Discord that's trying to figure out what you're looking at here. We do have a 45-minute video that's free of me just going through and explaining what all my markers are, what a pulse marker is. We haven't talked about pulse markers tonight. What ISIS is, what Anubis is, et cetera, and how to use it, what it is, and how to benefit from looking and watching these live streams and subscribing to the charts. You can just join us over at the unfairadvantage.chat. Ask one of the mods, hey, where's that free video? Watch it, and you'll be up to speed. You'll know what's going on. Will sushi ever get back? Sushi is a very interesting one. Let's go back and circle back. As long as I haven't had a chance to bash this yet. So, these two, these three actually, 1 inch, and I've talked about this a trillion times, so I feel like I'm repeating myself too much, but 1 inch has a much better interface. It's nicer looking, it's better looking. This thing is so 1.0. I don't even know how the hell this thing ever survived, but when I started bashing this thing, it was $64. What's it at these days? Probably nowhere close to that. Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised it's even that high. But Anubis is already making calls with 100% probability. I don't know if some of you guys can see this or not, but these are markers put in by Anubis is giving it 100% probability of hitting $3.51. So yeah, I wouldn't be touching that anytime soon. I showed you kind of basically the horn we're operating in here. So we're basically scraping the top of that. We're ready for a dip down. So we got a long way to go. Actually, truth be told, real quick here, we're probably going to fall to the bottom of that. So we're going to probably stay inside that horn for a while. But anyway, my point being is Uniswap, it's kind of garbage. It's really old school. Sushi Swap is just, it has its days, but 1 inch Sushi Swap, Pancake is another one. I need to get all those kind of put together in one little crunched up area. Sushi was, there's days when it looks like it's really going to go. I mean, there was a time when it went down to the bottom and then rocketed up 300% early last year or into the year before last. You guys remember that? I had never really, that was when I just added sushi to Platinum and Platinum Pro. I had stopped watching it, but if you want a swing coin that'll really make you get your pulse up, I mean, look at that. I mean, this thing is custom made for that. Right now, well, I'll show you. I'm looking at something I hadn't seen because I don't pay that much attention to it. So currently right now, and I'll explain. So we are hitting right on my call. I make these little squiggles, but we hit the mark right to the T, bang, 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 right there. So that call was hit. So we are at a temporary swing bottom. So you guys want to make some money? Here's a money call for you. Trade carefully. So we're at 93 cents right now. 93.5 cents right now. Anubis is calling for a 100% possibility of coming back, and we don't see that very often. A 100 statistical probability, which doesn't mean fact, means statistical probability. 100% probability of taking a 26.5% gain. Now, here's what I want to tell you about this. Play this thing the right way. Don't play it stupid. Don't look at the high number and go, well, I'm in until we hit that number. What I would want you to do is you have to take into account there's more to this story. Anubis is showing where it will, it doesn't mean in one shot. It doesn't mean in one wick or 2 wicks or 3 or 4 candles. It means eventually it will get there. Before it goes down, it will go to this mark. So let me kind of talk this out here a little bit. This thing will likely, come on. One of these days I'm going to get this thing working right. Eventually this thing will go up. That's probably the wrong color to be using for this. Let me use white here. Or let's use gray. Okay. So eventually this thing will basically go up to about here, and it'll probably, it'll probably drop a little bit, and then it'll probably ascend. Why do I say that? Because this is an ISIS line, and we have resistance there, and there, kind of there, definitely there, definitely there, there, and there. That is a lot of historical resistance, a great amount. So here's what I'm telling you. I just told you 26.5, I believe it was. I would be looking to the half point, the 50% move. So let's take a look at that and see if that makes sense. So we're coming up off the bottom. So if we were to buy in right now and buy this, and we only went to this ISIS line, that's a 17, well, we'll just call it a 17.15% return. You guys been with me long enough to know, does that qualify my get out of bed and buy it routine? Yep. Anything over 15% I'll pay attention to. That would be the call that I would be chasing. chasing it up with stop losses right here. Once we get into profit, get a stop loss up underneath it and just chase it, chase it, chase it, chase it until it cashes you out on the pullback. You might very well make it to the promised land, but if you only make it halfway, you're welcome. You just made 17% return on your money for watching a free live stream. How's that sound? No, we didn't cover Chainlink. I don't often talk about it an awful lot, but I'll go back and double check it. I honestly, I don't look at Chainlink. Whew, that's not good. So I can see right now we've got a call down here at about $3.50. So we're heading that direction. 65% probability of getting down to the dual AI line. So I can see just purely from a TA standpoint that this thing is basically lining up to go down. Pardon all of these lines. This is Anubis's statistic. It's Anubis Oracle, actually. There's Anubis and Anubis Oracle. So this is basically the dragon is this indicator right here. Green is under red, under blue. This thing is basically lining up. Let me go ahead and chalk it out here and show you. This is basically forming that right there, which will take you effectively to right there. So about $4.50 before very long. So Chainlink's a stinker right now, as most of them are. All right, so back to Ocean. Ocean, being a swing trade coin, when you catch them when you know with some degree of a certainty that you're getting these up down. When you play these, I don't watch Ocean. I really have not been in a very swing tradey mood. I'm bottom fishing. I've been playing with Doge and only Doge. Doge being, here's another thing too. This always needs to be discussed when we talk about this stuff. When you swing trade, this is one I'm going to cheat here. So this is Platinum Pro Plus. Here, let me get into this. Hang on just a second here. We have another version of Platinum Pro. Let me open it up here in just a second. Well, that's not good. This is my internet. Yeah, my internet's not running worth a crap. Are any of you guys getting this when you go onto FibiCharts? It's probably just me. Mediacom back home. I'm running my computer back through from Thailand back to Chicago and through Mediacom. All right, so this is Platinum Pro Plus. This is basically the same thing, just laid out differently. Where did I put Ocean at? Ocean. Okay, so that's why I want research. So we're down. We're basically down. I want research. That's what I want. So Ocean is, what is its ranking here? I forget. I'm dyslexic as hell, so pardon me. Can anyone see on the screen what its ranking is? What its coin ranking is? Or are you even seeing it? I'm not finding it here. I was going to make a point here, but I'm not seeing it. Let me cheat here just a little bit. Unless CoinGecko changed something, I'm not. They used to give you the ranking, and what I'm looking for is what number Ocean is, what its ranking is. I don't know if anybody's seeing that or not. Can somebody do some real quick research and let me know what is Ocean ranked at? Where is it at in the pecking order? Doge is in the top 10, for example. Bitcoin number 1. Whereas I believe there we are. Sorry, my dyslexia is kicking in. There it is right there. Rank 265. Okay, now I can make my point. Sorry about that. So you're trading a coin that's in the top 300. How does that make you feel? So this kind of goes to my point here. So let's back up and let's say, so if we're going to swing trade something, let's swing trade safely. Agreed? So let's take a look at T-Fuel and let's do the same thing. T-Fuel is 135, ranked number 135. Oceans to the bottom of 300. This one's kind of to the bottom, just slightly under the top 100. Which do you think would be the safer trade to be doing if you got stuck with it? If you made a bad call and the thing started to go down on you anyway, well, that's not going the direction I want. Are you feeling good about holding Ocean all the way through the bottom, that it may not wash out or whatever, et cetera, et cetera? It's down to 300, and some of you guys are swing trading these coins that are 4,000 and 5,000 ranking. No way. That is absolute suicide. I do not swing, as a matter of practicality, I do not swing trade coins that are not in the top 100. I just don't do it. So if you guys feel inclined to kind of live on the wild side, you can do that, but be aware we're looking at a call down here, and at any moment this thing can turn and go bang, and it certainly probably will, because let me show you this here. Hide all the drawings. Get rid of all that. Indicator. There we go. It's already lining up for that. That right there is basically going to drop you right here to that line. So at any moment, this thing could execute and fall right to here, and then right to here, and bring in that call from clear back in May. But rest assured, it will happen. So I really wouldn't be swing trading anything like that. All right. So this is another thing that's part of Platinum Pro. It gives you the stats, and you can kind of, I don't use it very often on live streams, but it's kind of nice to be able to log in the morning and see what's making money and what's losing money and stuff like that. It's just something. If you use it, you use it. You don't, you don't. My dyslexia can only handle so much, but I keep both versions because I like to use the cartoony version. This one's much more strictly business. I'm kind of old school. This is where we started, and so I've got I like this because it's easy to find everything. So, all right. Oh yeah, I was gonna bash on Zillow a little bit. All right, so Zill, let me talk about this for a second, just because I can drill my point home. This was absolute utter manipulation, absolute utter manipulation. So when I first started talking about this, let's take this from a different perspective. One, two, what should have been three. That was pure manipulation right there. You can see it. If we take this right here out of the equation, you can very clearly see why that did not. This kid is doing his own thing. So to take this back to square one here, this is where this belongs, right on the deck. And here's the case in point for why I trash talk Zillow or Zilliqa, because basically this thing, and I'm going to be pardon me, guys that are much more techy that understand the depth of this. I'm speaking very superficially. This thing services a segment of the population that is broke, and by that I mean skateboard kids. This is accepted by T-shirt companies and just little Shopify BS things that people selling. One person selling garbage to another person, and both of them are broke in the first place, and neither one of them have day jobs and families to raise or whatever. Zill services that industry and that age group. That should worry the crap out of you. Let me tell you story time. Way back, the very first multi-million-dollar business I built, I mentioned at the top of the live stream that I build. I owned a company that manufactured electronics for the military and for car audio and whatever. It was a company called Raw Power Laboratories. And when I first started, I started doing this out of my house in the Midwest. I started to manufacture. I won't tell you the long version of the story, but I started manufacturing subwoofers, and I was making just insane amounts of money. Paid off my little 2-bedroom post-war bungalow house in 6 months. And it was back in the day, it was a $55,000 house. That these days that would be a $250,000. Don't laugh, Californians. I know that still sounds cheap, but that would be a very bread and butter middle income house in that town. And I actually overpaid for it when I bought it because I was a stupid young kid. But anyway, I paid the house off in 6 months. Manufacturing, taking a subwoofer paper magnet steel that sells for $5 in manufacturing and selling it for $300 retail. That was crazy. But I was selling to kids. And I had a come to Jesus moment around about age 26 when I was doing this, and I saw myself in the future going, I don't like, I can't imagine myself being a 55, 60-year-old man still dealing with these little assholes. these damn kids coming to my house, banging on my door at midnight, going, "Hey man, I want to buy some subwoofers," because I was selling stuff out of my house. This is before the internet existed publicly. And I thought, I can't do this. I was making crazy amount of money. I'm like, I need a real job. And that's when I got into real estate. And I won't expand on that story. Some of you guys have heard it. I'll tell the longer version some other time. But I had a realization then that I'm having now with Zill. You could make a lot of money. You did right there until you didn't. This is when things were kind of looking hopeful back in 2021. This is about when COVID started. Roundabout, wouldn't you agree? Everything's pretty much fell to shit since then. Would you agree? I mean, let's be honest. Let's take this out of the equation. Let's look at this. It's a straight line drop. Ah, come on there. It is a, come on, play nice. It is a straight line drop right across the tabletop drop, right? Boom, 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 all the way down. And I saw that, and I said, I didn't see this, but I saw the realization that this is servicing a segment that is basically sitting on their dead asses in their mom's basement playing Xbox, not holding a job at the local Dairy Queen or McDonald's or whatever, and nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Call me crazy, but I understand basic math. If you don't have a job, you don't make money. If you don't make money, you don't spend money. If you don't spend money, you don't buy Zill. If you don't buy Zill, then what the hell is the point of trying to own Zill as an investment? Full stop. So I'm just a realist. And so I try to break things down to their very basic element. And so Zill for me is dead. This thing will wash out and it will be in the dustbin of crypto history. It will not come back. And I will go on record publicly and say that. Watch me be right. I've been right all along. This is opportunistic. You can see this we saw this earlier in the live stream. Fast run up, slow realization that you just got screwed. That's exactly how the formula works. This is a whale screwing with somebody, giving them false hope. There's no reason this should have happened. This, by the way, boy, that hurt. 415. There's no way. No way. 415%, 415.5% run up in two candles. Yeah, tell me that's not manipulation. With all that's going on in this world right now, there's no reason. So I would not touch this with a 10-foot pole. All right, so I've bashed that enough for one night. Now, let's see. So much stuff I want to talk about. Yeah, while I'm bashing things. I've been in this. Full disclosure, I've been in this. I drank the Kool-Aid. I was in this. I drank out of the dog dish just like everybody else. And but I came to the point where I'm going to make the same analogy. There is no credible people in this space. Some of you guys have been with me for a long time. You've heard me say this, and I'm still saying it because I'm still right. There's no credible people in this place. You're not going to see Walmart take. You're not going to see Walmart take Doge either. But Shiba is not. It's just not going to go the distance. Excuse me, just a second. I clear my throat here. It's not going to have a time where you've heard, oh, they're going to take it at AMC. Well, shit, AMC isn't going to do that well either. So Shiba is not going to do well. Now it's setting up for a fall, and I've been saying this for a very long time. Now we had a couple people that found their way out of my group that were massive holders of Shiba. We were making good money swing trading the crap out of this thing, but at some point, back in my birthday party, I had a diamond buy $1 million and I think $1.25 million worth of this stuff sitting in Outback Steakhouse on his phone during my birthday party down in Georgia. And even that gave me nosebleeds. And so, around about that time, I'd have to kind of go back in the chart to kind of see where that was at. June, July, August, October. I have to go back to 2021. Let's see about where that was. Let's rewind the tape here. I believe that was 2021, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was be about right. Yep, sure enough. Okay, so up in this area here is where he was doing it. So that sounds about right. Because round about here, I got cold feet, and I'm like, guys, time to get out of the pool. And it just pretty much just down, 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 down ever since. And we've had a lot of people that have been in this group kind of go, well, I think we could turn this franchise around. I'm like, nope, don't see it. And because the same thing that I'm saying about Zill to a lighter degree, I'm saying about Shiba. There's no credible people in the space. It's just nothing but skateboard kids, and it's a closed bubble community. We're great, right? Yeah, we're great. You're right, we're great. And everybody's looking at each other and patting each other on the back, saying it's gonna be great, it's gonna be great. But there's nobody new coming in going, this could really be great. And you know what? I think I'm gonna implement this in my business, and this thing has legs, and I believe in it. And, kid, we're gonna make you a superstar. It's not happening, and it's not going to happen. Veronica Jane and I have talked about this in the past. What she says, and I agree with it. And what Veronica Jane, for you guys that are new, she's one of our psychics in the 21 group, unofficial. And so She says that this thing will never disappear. I would agree with that. But she said basically it's going to be kind of like a side thing where people trade with each other. I mean, what the hell is the point of that? We didn't get into crypto to trade pogs or beanie babies, for Christ's sake. And so, I mean, we're in this thing to make money, baby. So if we're not doing that, what's the point? And so, again, there's so many other things that you could own that are much more. If you want to buy a damn dog coin, buy Doge. It's in the top 10. It's backed by a guy with really bad hair plugs that tends to like it once in a while, and it goes ape shit when he talks about it. So, hey, what more could you want in an investment, right? So Doge for me, I watch it, and for some of you guys who've never been in with me for a while, we have a very dear friend of mine now. He was a subscriber. He's been with me for a long time here. We crypto rich. He's kind of going through some personal stuff. We'll talk about that some other time. But he's done 25 plus trades of nothing but Doge and made multiple millions of dollars using the system you're watching on live screen right now. And everybody who's been with me for a long time has watched his ascent from 1 million, from basically $300,000 to I forgot. I don't even know what his dollar count is. Well over 27 to 30 million dollars, strictly on non-leveraged trades in Doge using the calls that I made. I mean that he's my poster boy for success for what's possible. Um, and this is a guy that didn't even know what the hell he was buying. He was just trusting the system. So, and I finally sobered him up and got him out of it. We did one more trade just recently when I was doing it. But, Doge is one of those deals. It'll come back because Musk will make it so. It'll be fine. I believe Doge will work its way into the ecosystem of Twitter at some juncture in time. The Moon Boys and the skateboard kids and the hopefuls and the whatever are all right now going any minute now, he's going to come out and he's going to take Doge. And I've already said no, not until March. Not until March. So many things are going to start happening in March and May and April. My stance on that. Let's just open up the Doge chart so we're talking about the right crypto. I'm done looking at this thing. Doge. Let's just go ahead and talk about it. So right now, currently, we're looking at Anubis called this long ago, 68% odds of it going down. And I did some trades up here and I did fairly well, and then she waterfalled. And thankfully I didn't. I got out just before this thing. I told everybody get out of the pool, and down she went, and it waterfalled. So hopefully you guys were actually listening to me. I told you get out, and it went down. Bing, bing. That is your classic dead cat bounce. Let's go ahead and get some spaghetti. That is your classic dead cat bounce right there. And we're sitting right on the top of the box here, I told you, and we're ready to set up to go within this cone. We're ready to go down here and realize this 68% odds of going to this point. So we're not ready to do another play on this just yet. Now, when the time comes, right now, currently, I don't want to overload you with too much stuff, but this thing right here is part of Anubis' system. It's called the Anubis wave. And so it's showing us that we are in fact, in a down cycle, which is going to bottom around about February 19th. So between now and February 19th, I don't want even to be talking about Doge. I don't even want to have anything to do with Doge. So until we get to the bottom, wherever the bottom is, these things work on a clock cycle and a time cycle. You can very clearly see, if you understand how this system works, when things are going to turn around to the upside. No reason to even be trading Doge. But so we're looking at February. Let's just play that out. We're looking at February for things to start looking good. I told you March would be probably March or April is when I would expect him to come out and go, going back 3 or 4 loops in our conversation here tonight, I told you how he wants to have something called X.com, which is, basically Twitter, it's WeChat, it's your life, it's your social credit score, it's your bank, it's blah, 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 blah. Okay, that has a little bit to do with this. One of the little pieces, and he's also a PayPal founder, one of the pieces of the puzzle is he wants a payment system. He has come out and very unambiguously and said he wants a payment system inside of Twitter, person-to-person pay. Ta-da! This is a guy that's created payment systems. Do you think he's bullshitting? Because I sure don't. This guy says he wants it. He's done it before. It ain't no thing, and he's got the resources to pull it off. So yes, he is going to put a pay-to-pay, a person-to-person pay system inside of Twitter. I will bet my life on it. Very few things I would say that to, but I would bet my life on it. Now, when will that happen? Everybody's like, oh, it's going to happen by the end of the year. I'm waiting. I told you it wasn't going to happen. It's not going to happen yet. Why? Because we have to get into the new year. He's got some other things he's got to deal with. You'll start to hear the technology rolls out. You'll start to hear the new. Let me kind of take this down to pedestrian level. What's going on? Let's chalk talk this. Okay, so here we are right now, right here. So this is Happy New Year right here. This is, let's take it to February. All right. This is the end of January. This is, that's the start of March. And there's April. Okay, so these are your months. This is January, February, March, April. And April is, we'll just go ahead. Okay, so there you go. This is the area of probability for what's going to happen with Doge getting implemented into Twitter. So let me explain to you how corporate think works. We are now in a new year. Okay, so this is where all things begin anew in the new year. So he has a board meeting, and he lays out his hopes and dreams and his goals for Twitter, and he sends his soldiers off on a march to go execute on his commands. It takes a while for them to execute. They come back, they post a report. Boss, this is what we've done. We beta tested it. We're ready to rock and roll, whatever. We start calling out the media. We start letting people know we're working on it, and we're roundabout in the middle of February. When February happens, we are at the bottom of the cycle. Okay? Funny how the timing works. Now, he comes out with an announcement. We are getting ready to roll out a payment processor. And lo and behold, what do you think that's going to do to the market, the speculation market? It's going to rock and roll because everybody's going to, they're going to be trying to be first adopters and low and bottom buyers. This is when you're going to start to see people start to take their speculation. But when you're going to see it actually roll out is probably at the start of Q1, Q2, right there. You're going to see, this is when you're probably going to see the actual utilization or implementation of a payment processor on Twitter because it takes that long. And when it happens, it'll be right at the high water mark. Now let's play that out a little bit further because I just love doing this stuff. I just geek out on this stuff. If it'll let me go over further. All right, so let's take some hypotheticals. So are you with me theoretically here? So are you in agreement with what I'm saying? Basically, it takes a while to give marching orders, to implement, to roll it out. The speculation starts. We hit the absolute zenith of ecstasy. Everybody goes, see, I told you. Now, put a pin in this. Let me show you something. I can show you some correlations. I like to kind of multi-level think here, so I'll show you how Barron thinks. Some of you guys actually find value in this, so that's why I'm doing it. Sand. Did we not just discuss this? Do you see any correlations here? Let me explain the correlations. Meta came out and said, hey, we got this cool thing called Meta. Okay, well, it's not going to implement right now. Or, okay, all the news wore off and blah, 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 blah. All right? Remember that. So it rolls out, it gets implemented, everybody's in feel-good mode, everybody's made their money, and now it's just a thing, and it's just another day at the office, and things start to go downhill again. So this is when you're going to see the high water mark for all the trading related to the rollout of Twitter. I mean, it'll still be going on. I'm not suggesting it's going to fall down. These waves show direction. They don't show depth. They don't show what we call velocity. But what I'm telling you is the hype cycle will begin round about here, and it will end round about here. And that will be at about middle of April. Okay? So look for it. Look for it. And I'm making this is a public video, so you can go back and re-reference this and see how right I was. And as far as I know, nobody else has the insight to be able to explain that quite the way I just did. But I've been through this so many times with new product rollouts in the electronics industries and just knowing the way that products are created and board meetings are run and stuff like that. Look for it. This is your low point at around about the February 15th to 19th. High water mark is get out. Get out by the third week of April. Get out. So there's your money making opportunity in Doge right there. All right. All right, right, so we have a couple of other ones I want to talk about here. Solana. This one is also like Reef and whatever, but unfortunately, I've made this comment probably 2 or 3 times on Twitter. Solana was just a massive performer. So let's go back and revisit the greatest hits on Solana. Solana, here's my take on this, and I was mentioning earlier about the run up of the other coin due to FTX. This undoubtedly, the bulk of this run, this stellar run that we watched happen, is FTX. Clearly is FTX. Because if you remember my history with this and my commentary, we none of us knew what was really going on, but we were all marveling how this thing just would not go down on one knee. When the rest of you have to understand an overlayment of this with the rest of the market, excuse me, the rest of the market, you have to understand the overlayment of how the rest of the market was not doing this. It was actually on the decline, and this thing just kept holding ground. And we were all just going, what the hell, man? This thing is a superstar. Well, now we know the truth. We know the truth. FTX was cycling this shit and pumping it up and pumping it up and pumping it up. No wonder. No wonder. And lo and behold, the truth on FTX comes out, and down she goes. And so, again, I don't know what causes this, but I can tell you where it goes when it goes. And I'm giving you the bang. There's a ping right there. There's a ping right there, and there's going to be another one right there. And she's going to go down and down. I can go ahead and get that out. Down and down and down. And when she comes to rest, she's going to go right there into the buy zone. And when she does, is it a smart reason? Is it a smart thing to buy? Now, I want to talk about this. I made, like I said, I make little smart ass comments on Twitter all the time. John Dillinger used to love to rob banks. Some of you guys I remember I'm speaking to a worldwide audience back in the 20s, 30s, 40s. I don't know what era he was famous. John Dillinger was a very well-known bank robber, and he used to his famous quote is why do you rob banks? He goes, I rob banks because that's where the money's at. So he's a businessman. So, but here's the thing, the point that I'm making. He drove a Ford when he robbed these banks. Now, is that Ford's fault? No, he just drove a Ford. Ford didn't give him a car. He just happened to be the product that was selected. My case in point here being is Solana had no dog in this fight. They were just there being bought. So does the stink of FTX that is currently just wafting all over Solana, is it justified? No, it's not. So we can use this to our advantage. The question is we have to find out what proper price action is. And I'm telling you, I can see it right here. This is, if I remember correctly, and again, my usage. This is an NFT. Yeah, I believe this is related to NFTs. But anyway, I believe it's a solid performer. I believe it will be a survivor. But I see certain things that are just irrefutable. I see a Head and Shoulders. How do those play? Well, let me tell you. They play just like this. Bang, right to my line. Right to my line. To the pixel. And so that's why we get this. Anubis forecasted it. You can see it in the TA. You can see it in the bots predictions. I mean, it lines up. We are going to go to $4.95 easily. And you can also see it over here. You can verify with TA. Below that, now, that's in a bubble. That's having nothing to do with the next 9/11 attack or the next war announcement or the next COVID vaccine or the next, mass death, whatever. Pick your favorite tragedy. They're all up for grabs. What's going to push it down even further? So if we push down even further, it pushes us into the buy zone, our final support down here. You go much lower than that, and it starts to get kind of scary thinking, is this thing ever going to come back up? And I believe it will. So what I'm telling you is I've got an alarm set to start watching targets at $1.85. Anywhere from $1.85 down to about $1.25 conservatively, anywhere in here. Not trying to buy the absolute bottom because we just don't have the data. Data only goes back so far. But anything in here, I'm perfectly good with it because I believe, going back and looking at this, we have to look at what the upshot is. If we bought this at the green and this thing went back up, let's just take it back up to support. Who wants to get a return like that? 2,235.59% return on their money. This is where your first resistance starts. From what I can, well, actually, this is your first one right here, but this is not really that much. Your first real resistance starts at right about here, and that gives you 2,235.59% return. This is what I'm telling you. This is one that is in my top six. This is in my top six plus, let's just say. This is not one that's on my I'm buying no matter what list. You know, you got your list and then you got your side list. This is kind of on my wait and see. It's on the waiting list. It's not on the VIP list. It's on the waiting list. I guess I don't know how to be cute about that, but it's on the one that I want to know if it hits my target. But there are some that are standing ahead of that. Why do I say that? Because we'll be talking about an asset we'll be talking about a crypto running for about $1.25. Meanwhile, over in HBAR land, let me show you this. HBAR, backed by Google, part of the financial system. Big money behind this thing. Currently priced way less than that already and going lower. And I could not be more clear what to do and when to do it. Anywhere in this white box, don't let this go by you, you McDonald's money people. This is another reef. Life-changing shit. Life-changing shit. I've been watching this with great interest because nobody predicted that this was going to go down except for me. I've been watching all the YouTubers that were like, it's going to get adopted at any point in time. The bottom is in and it's going to go up. And I went, nope. And I said, it's going to come down. It's going to walk across the top of this. And eventually she's going to lose ground. She's going to fall into the green box. And that's exactly where we did. We fell exactly to my call. Now we have a new call to the bottom of the green box. What's going on right now? This is a pulse marker. Normally they're blue. We hit this, and to no surprise, let me get this out of here. We're getting a little bit of a pump just slightly before the pulse marker, but we're in a very, very weak amount of volume here, and I suspect probably a little bit of a run back up to around about here, and so we hit the 50%, so that's a ping on this 50% marker. But we're going to fall, and we're going to actualize the whole entire thing down here at about 2.69% or 2.69 cents, and it's going to continue to fall. And let me show you the stats on that. From where we're at currently right now to the top of that white box is only 60%. Only. You've seen numbers higher than that. Smaller coins fall further. So I'm not suggesting that this is the bottom because it could go even lower. But you go much lower and you don't even have a positive number. So what I'm telling you is kind of watch the bottom of the white box's go time. But anything below that green line, just do it. Just do it. Don't split hairs. Just get it. Better to get a seat on the boat than miss the ship. You know what I'm saying? But so again, to set that aside and go back and talk about Solana. This is why Solana is like now this is in my top six. This is not. So when I've had my fill of this, and that's always the fun thing. It's like, when do you know you bought enough? Well, when you don't have any money left in your wallet. So, it's not like I go, well, I'm going to spend $10,000 and I won't spend anything more and I've got $5,000 for something else. No, if I had $15,000, I'm going to spend $15,000. I'm going to buy every damn thing I can get my hands on of this because that's crazy to buy this thing at basically sub penny prices and then watch this thing ascend. Now, let me show you what's possible with this. I don't want to put this out on a live stream yet because that's why I don't want to leave a little bit left for VIP. But when this thing turns around and starts to go up, I'll give you some rough ideas. This is not the ceiling, but I'll show you what's possible percent-wise. Well, I think I kind of just gave it away. This is one call. It's not the call. This is hypothetical. If we just come up to where resistance is right here, that's 1,550%. Based on a coin that is fractions of a penny when we hit target, backed by Google, and you better believe Google's not going to waste their time with anything. If how many? Riddle me this: how many coins is Google invested in right now? How long is that list? It's not very long. I can't think of any other coins that Google has its hooks in except for Hashgraph. Now I could be wrong about that, because Google does have a venture cap thing, and I don't stay on top of that. But I mean, from a news standpoint, the one that's touted the most is in fact HBAR, Hashgraph, same coin. So, and I told you guys 6 months ago that this thing was going to be a sleeping giant. It was going to drop 6 months ago when we were up here. I told you this thing's going to go much lower before it goes higher, and lo and behold. So when this thing finally gets adopted and becomes something, Google's got the power of everything. When they want this to be known, brothers and sisters, you better believe it's going to be known. It's going to be everywhere. You won't be able to get away from it. You're going to hear about it everywhere because they've got the power of the news, the power of search engines, blah, 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 blah. It's got the power of big, big money. Google doesn't get into anything that they don't believe in. You know what I'm saying? That they're not willing to throw considerable resources at. And so Hashgraph was just a sucker bet waiting to happen. And so we're just waiting for the bottom. Now, again, I'm not going to go on record and tell you that this is the absolute bottom, but I'm comfortable telling you guys to go ahead and start filing towards the entrance at the lower part of this box. Good enough, because I still have a little bit of reservation as to whether we might get shut out by some sort of, internet tragedy or whatever, where you may not be able to get the bottom. There's always that little paranoia. Seems to be a little too real to me. So given the you kind of saw how my internet was kind of going shitty there at the first part of the show. So it happens once in a while. I would hate to think that I'm going to try and live trade this thing and grab it, right at the ultimate bottom and miss it because something didn't execute or I got shut out by a closed exchange or something like that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you can buy HBAR on Coinbase. So again, the recipe for success is right there. I mean, you've got it easy to get into, easy to get out of coin on a major exchange, lots of major exchanges. Very liquid, backed by a Fortune billion dollar company. I don't see a downside to this. So buy it right and then sit on it. So this one, for all its merits, you have to remember we're operating in a group, not an individual. We're not in a bubble. We're in a group. All right, now we'll talk about Algorand. Algorand is a ISO coin. It's it's the ugly sister of the ISO coin family. It's just, it's the old maid. Algorand, let's talk about price action here real quick. So showed you the bottom and I showed you another trend here and I tweeted earlier we're probably going to spend some time in there and then we'll fall into the resistance. So that's the play for right now. We're getting a little bit of upward action, but if we do bust out of this and wick, we probably will hit that and we'll come back down into it. So I'm not thinking that this is turning around anytime soon because you can see there's a very clear trend running through that. Now, where's the bottom on this? This is not on my top 6. It's not even on my top 10. This would be definitely still above Quant, definitely still above ADA, anything that could be an ISO. It's to the lower part. The XDC, XLM, XRP, top 3. Those are the beautiful sisters of the family. Below that, you also got Internet of Things, which you guys never hear me talk about. IoT. You never hear me talk about IOTA. You never hear me talk about it because again, this one, I don't want to fragment my thoughts. Let me finish this and I'll get back to this. So this also is an ISO coin, but we'll talk about why this is taking a dump right now. There's a very, very real physical reason for that. So Algo, you could kind of call Algo a banker coin. I mean, they're all ISO coins are banker coins, but this one really is a banker coin. So bankers are not notorious for having wild gyrations. They like stability. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say is this never has been and never will be a wildly fluctuating coin. You have time to think about where the bottom is, you have time to buy it, and then you have to take the time to wait it out. So again, is that sexy when you see everything else going just popping left and right all over the place? Is this ever going to be the sexy sister? No, because when you look at this versus XLM, price is 17 cents. Price on XLM, let's take a look at XLM right now. I gotta go back and remind myself. I look at too many coins, I forget. Price on XLM, 10 cents less. Value proposition on a faster, better supported coin with a seat at the ISO desk. Which one are you going to bet on? ISO? Or are you going to bet on XLM? Or are you going to bet on Algo? Algo does not have a place in my heart. It just doesn't. So not to shit on it. If you just got to be a completist and own one of everything or own some of everything, God bless you. Go ahead and do it. But just understand you're going to be giving up some glory in the ascension that you're going to see in this one and in this one and ultimately in this one, because algo is never going to do what these three do. It's not built for it. It's not set up for that. These things are all wildly undervalued. These are going to be the most used of the ISO coins. That's probably the better way to put it. These are going to be the most used of the ISO coins. So thereby they're going to get the most ascension in price. They're going to get the most glory. They're going to get the most PR. They're going to get the best press, and they're going to get the most use. They're going to have the highest volume. They're going to have the highest tradability. Markets are the most liquidity. Algo is it's safe and it's sane, but it's nothing sexy. Now IOTA. Back to my electronics background. There's a hell of a call. Huh? Look at this one. So that one went from there to there. So I called a 60.57% drop on that one. And exactly where I showed you it was going to start dropping, it's been down and down and down and down ever since. And so it's just about to realize one more leg. It's going to actually go past this and go down to this line right here. So IoT, Internet of Things. And so we can have the same conversation about this that we had about theta and about some of the other stuff. So, where is our concern right now as a culture? Are we worried about our refrigerator having internet connectivity? No. What is this coin? Internet of Things. That means your refrigerator, your toaster, your garage door opener, all that stuff like that. This is a consumer based or consumer interest use case. And I'm being very vague about this. I'm being very superficial about it. But at its heart, that's basically what this is. It's tied to consumer goods. Anybody got money setting aside to be buying luxury items right now? Anybody that wants to go out and buy a $9,000 refrigerator that's got internet connectivity? I just remodeled Chase's kitchen and went looking at refrigerators. You can buy $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 refrigerators that have basically the precursor to this installed in it already. And from where I'm sitting, there's not a hell of a lot of takers. So if there's not an awful lot of buyers, then there's not an awful lot of use. If there's not an awful lot of use, then what you got is prices falling like a rock like this. So, and they are going to continue to fall. This thing is going to fall much lower. As low as ISIS is showing right now, well, there you go. We had a Bollinger bubble that came down, wicked right down to my line, right down here. So not going to surprise me if we're seeing prices of down here into the penny or less. So let's just see if we get our 60-70% drop here from here. So from here to here, that's 92. I'd buy it. It's a lesser coin. I would tell you probably, well, I guess I already had made that prediction right here, 0.025. That would likely be, between these two boxes, would likely be your bottom. So this is probably refreshing for some of you going, when is he ever going to tell me where the bottom is? I just did. That's it probably right there. We are now to the point where you're going to start hearing me call bottoms here pretty soon. Within the next 3 or 4 months, within the span of the next 3 or 4 months, you're going to start to hear me talk about where the true bottom is likely at for most of these coins, because we are now, we're not getting there in quite the way that I anticipated. I expected well, we've been getting a pretty gradual, but I keep waiting for the ultimate slam that delivers the kill shot, but we may not get it. It may just be bleed till we get there, go sideways, and then finally after a number of months go up. You never know, but I'm always willing to concede that the next 9/11 is right around the corner, and that's what's going to take us a dramatic drop down. So it remains to be seen, but win, lose, or draw, this is where I see it going, to about 2.5 cents. So if you want to own this, be prepared. I'm telling you, this one I can tell you with absolute authority. This one will be probably one of the last ones out of the ISO gate to really yield some impressive income for you. So by that virtue, don't own it. Why? Because when did I say things were going to start turning around? I said probably in 2024, 2025. There's a lot of ifs and there's a lot of speculation there. Is everybody going to be doing well enough by that point to be out there buying refrigerators with internet connectivity? And without going deeper, this has kind of put me in another mindset. You know how things are like. So right now you basically got a $9,000 refrigerator that's got internet connectivity in it. well, let me take it from this standpoint. So my son Chase, I mentioned he does CAD work. When we first looked, we have 5 3D printers in his house. He's always making all kinds of stuff, and I wanted to give him. I ended up buying him a very expensive laser, CO2 laser, because he wanted one. So it's going to be a surprise for him for his birthday. And one of the other things I want to give him, because I always like to just give, like, see, well, let's see what we can do with this, and give, and then next thing you know, he's coming out with some amazing creation. So I want to buy him a scanner. I've been looking at scanners, and scanners, for you guys that don't know, basically what it is, they look like a telephone, like a phone receiver, old school phone receiver, and you point it at something, it shoots out a laser, and it takes measured. I used to use them back when I worked at GM. They basically manage, and then you scan things in, and then you can manipulate them with CAD and whatever. Those things, entry level, years ago, used to be $36,000 to $50,000 for a cheap one. Now you can get them as cheap as, that operate on that level, as cheap as $1,000. To get one that's on like a killer mind-blowing level, anywhere from about $8,000 to $12,000. And I'm looking at that class and category of a scanner for him right now. It measures in 1/1000th of a micron of a an inch. That's just insane. And so the reason I'm telling you all that is to tell you this: uh, there is going to be a amount of time with the Internet of Things. I mean, we're not just going to say, okay, everything's powered by Internet of Things. Great, who's buying it? Well, very few people. So the early adopters, to use my scanner analogy, the early adopters are paying out the wazoo for scanners. They're dropping $36,000 to $50,000. Then the next generation comes out, and they're half that much. And then the next generation comes out, and they're half that much. So 3D printers, for example, you never used to be able to touch a 3D printer for less than $5,000. You can get a desktop one for $100 now. That does a pretty impressive job. You know, that's just how things are. Toasters, you can get a cheap toaster that you used to have to pay $50 for. You can get something that does a 4-slice toaster for $30, where a $50 toaster was a good one back in the day or whatever. It's just how things are. So this $9,000 refrigerator with Internet of Things is only going to have so many people that are going to use it and adopt it until it becomes a 2,000 and then a 1,000. Big screen TVs would be a beautiful example of this. In Chase's living room, back when I came back from the Philippines, I dropped, if I remember correctly, $3,600 for a 55-inch TV. I'm pretty sure you all know that's not what they go for these days. One can be had for about $500, and it's flatter, it's lighter, and it has a hell of a lot more features than mine does. And so this is my case, and this is the point I'm making with this. And so there is, with the Internet of Things, it's going to be a while before this thing becomes wide use. Just like Theta, it's going to take a while to get this stuff introduced into the hardware to make it good, or to make it useful. And so we could be looking at 2004, definitely 2005, 6, 7, 8. It could probably be 3, 4, 5, 6 years before this thing really starts to hit its own. And at that point in time, how great of an investment do you really have? Meanwhile, everything else is just going ballistic because it had a sooner adoption and a sooner, more urgent use. So the Internet of Things token for me is kind of a dead issue. It's cool and all, but I will never own this coin. I just never will, based upon what I just told you. Because it's time value of money, meaning how fast I put my dollar in. I want to know how fast I get my dollar plus profit back out. And it could be a very long time with this. So despite these low prices, that doesn't mean anything. You still have to have the turnaround. All right. I don't want to talk about Populous for just a second. We're going to talk about Matic, and let's talk about Populous, and let's see here. And I'm watching this one. I just got a warm fuzzy about this here. I've talked about it a couple times. I want to mention that too. And of course, we want to talk about this. I'm shopping here, so hold on. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we want to talk about this one too. It's way down here on the list. Yeah, let's get this one out of the way. So Casper's been yeah, I think you can see pretty much what I'm about to say. Casper's been being mentioned. in the Discord. And again, to kind of go back for you guys that are just tuning in, we do have a Discord. Join us at the unfairadvantage.chat. It's free to get in, and I do this kind of stuff every single day. I don't do public live streams on YouTube every single day. I do them about once a week. It's been about a month or so since I've done the last one. But if you want more of me more often, join us at the unfairadvantage.chat. All right, so the conversation on the unfairadvantage.chat has been Casper. So I thought, all right, and some people have been asking me, are you tracking it on Twitter? Are you tracking Casper? I'm like, yeah, we'll go ahead and have a look at it. So I threw it up there, so now it's on Platinum Pro. So we do have this chart, and all of the markers and predictions are on Platinum Pro. And the first thing that I saw when I plugged this thing in, it was when I don't like it, because what I see is this. And this matches exactly what Anubis gave me. Bam. And so this thing's going down, boys and girls. I haven't spent enough time to really research what this does, but it's all basically going down. But I'm showing you that pretty much you can expect to see this thing at 0.005, 0.006 before it's all said and done. You're going to see it in two stints. You're going to see it drop to here at the 50%, and then you're going to see the rest of the way. So, sorry to burst some bubbles if I did. All right, Phantom was one that a lot of people made some pretty good money on this one. This was a call, 21 Group to their credit. So the 21 Group, to go back for guys, I have to kind of remember that I'm talking to new people. Sometimes they don't know what I'm talking about. Our group of psychics and remote viewers and stuff, universally, this never happens to my knowledge, that they all come back and go, ooh, Phantom, and they all did it. And there was usually we'll get kind of like, well, if somebody kind of gives a negative thing, few people, two maybe out of five, there might possibly be two that'll have a hit, or three. You know, never get five. We had seven for seven universal going Phantom. This is going to be a thing, and this was way back here. And they're saying that this is going to be a thing, a good thing. And so I got to looking at it. And so my job within that organization is to be the guy that actually tries to make sense of this thing from a technological standpoint. And so I look at this and I see this, our old friend, the familiar triple wave. You can very clearly see that there's a downward. This is how it's playing. And so I used that as an opportunity. I saw the first wave coming, and I told everybody, get in, and everybody got in. Everybody that was going to get in got in. And for doing that, if they rode the ride the right way, they made about 40%. And so at that point, I said, get out. And so when we got out, we went sideways for a little bit. It looked a little iffy. It looked like it was going to, if you don't know what you're looking at, it looked like it was going to do one of these numbers here. And so what I did is I told everybody, get your stop loss underneath that thing, because if it does, you never know. So let's strip some of this stuff off so I can go back and explain this a little bit better. But I suspected that's probably not how it was going to play out, because you could see very clearly, if you're looking, that we had support here, but we had resistance here, and that's a triangle, and we break 70% to the downside. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we did, 70% to the downside. And we went sideways, and eventually we did. This effectively was what's called a BART. If you guys don't know what a BART is, that's a BART, Bart Simpson. we don't talk about those very often because it's kind of a goofy formation, but it does happen. So it could have went either way, but the indicators were very clearly showing that it just was not going to happen and go any further. And I was really ultimately banking on a triple downward wave. And so basically I said, get out of the boat, and everybody did, and down she went. So this is where we're at next. So we basically got the same thing in reverse now. So we went up and did this, and now this is what's called an opening move and a closing move. We're opening up another move here. And so effectively we're just treading sideways, and it's trying to get people suckered into, well, we could go again, but we're not. We're going to go down. This time, this move is going to complete by going down into the circle and hitting right down here at about 14 cents. Now, likely, very likely, if you want to play a bounce, Phantom's prime for a bounce. Phantom's on weird exchanges. You can get it on KuCoin. Phantom's one of those. It's not an easy one to get. Doesn't trade on Coinbase. So you have to be prepared to kind of give a little bit to getting gouged over on KuCoin. But if you want to jump in at about 14.2, 14.25, I wouldn't have a problem with that. excuse me, and I would expect that a bounce would take you likely to this resistance right here. So you've got this amount of area right here to contend with, and if you bounce back up and ride the ride, you're probably going to be rewarded with, well, as much as 23%. These 23%, 24, 25% moves, they happen with a fair amount of frequency if you just want to, man up or woman up and get it. Because right now in a declining market, it takes a bit of faith to do that. But the question that I teach everybody is, do you want to own this thing if it goes south on you? I mean, if this thing turns out to be a stinker on you, are you proud of owning it? Because if you're not, don't buy it. Wait for the bottom. We know the bottom's coming. I'm showing you where the bottom's at. So, this is a temporary trade. If you don't risk anything that you don't want to end up owning, because I'm not an advocate of selling it at a loss and chasing to the bottom, chasing your losses to the bottom. We buy what we intend to hold and profit by, or we do not buy at all. That's just basically the methodology that I teach. Okay, so, and again, we have an ultimate bottom down here in fractions, but currently right now, basically this is the solid call right here. So we look for the bounce here and possibly a potential 23 to 25%. All right, so crypto.com. So crypto.com is doing better than I expected. I think it's safe to say until wave 2 of the SBF debacle, goes into high gear and it starts really kicking up with the trial and whatnot. I think crypto.com has survived the storm. It doesn't look like it's survived the storm, but everything's going down. It's pretty much keeping pace with the rest of the market. That's probably the better way to say this. So without going way down the case that I've made for this before the whole thing got started, name brand recognition. I mean, it is what it's selling what it's called, crypto.com. This again would be one of those assets I talk about. If this whole company gets liquidated and somebody else buys it, you can bet right here I'm moving around a multi-million-dollar asset. That name is a because what they'll do is they'll just take this domain and point it to KuCoin. If KuCoin bought this asset or whatever, they would just take crypto.com and they would just point it at their place and pick up all the traffic off it. I know because I've done this. I own an internet service provider and I would do the same thing. I buy domain names all the time. I buy expired domain names. I make a ton of traffic off of expired names from viable businesses that don't keep them floating. So yes, crypto.com is an asset in and of itself just by its name. But what kind of freaked me out a little bit is like we were my birthday party 2 years ago in Vegas. They were all over the sides of the casinos. They were just everywhere, all over Vegas. They bought FTX did, Crypto.com did. They're buying arenas. Like, ooh, I don't like the parallels of that. That doesn't sound good at all. So I was kind of like, oh, this could be next. So I've been watching this to see, do these guys follow the FTX model for, how to spend money you don't have and do stupid shit and steal people's money? It doesn't appear to yet. It's doing okay. So I'm watching. But my original thesis on this before things had come to light was this is basically the new banking system. And I'm still not saying that it's not, because again, getting back to something I said earlier, these crypto exchanges are in fact going to be banks, de facto banks, in some way, shape, or form. They're going to morph beyond what they are right now. But crypto.com has a seat at that possible table. And so I watch this with great interest. So meanwhile, I'm watching it for a 007 price. I like it at this price, and unless and until that was a point I was making on another live stream. Once we cross this threshold here at the halfway point, and we start getting past this ISIS line, I like it in this area here. I like it to the lower part of that. Maybe not exactly to the lower half of that box. Anything in there, and I would not, I wouldn't forsake my core 6. This would be on kind of like a Mad Money, kind of a what the hell type of thing if you're into it. Again, you have to make these decisions on the day you're going to spend money, not now. You don't decide now what you're doing in December because you don't know what December is going to bring you, or March, April, whatever. You don't know. But I can see a case for making an investment in this if it makes sense for me at the time at this price, but I won't go above that. doesn't make it, because this thing could just completely liquidate. What I'm gathering would probably happen is if I bought this like this, and let's say this company folded, they would probably just liquidate, they would just probably just liquidate the tokens. I would get back whatever I get back. But I think the upshot potential is, I don't know what's going to play out here, but I think the upshot potential from here to at least here, 800%, not bad, 8x, not bad. So this is why I wouldn't go whole hog with it. I just, quarter of a hog maybe. ICP, Internet Computer. There's just something about this, guys. I say this. I know this is probably not. I have my own little intuitive ability. That's why I'm I'm part of that group, and I have my own little vibes about this. There's something about this. Now, to look at it, you wouldn't think so. I mean, yeah, it'd make a good ski slope, but I don't know what else it would make. But I have a feeling that this thing is a sleeping giant, and we haven't seen it yet. So, again, will I throw big bank at it? No, I won't. But you never know. You never know. I might end up with two, three, four, $5,000. I might want to throw some mad money at it and see what happens if it gets to an attractive price. I don't know what the floor is on this. We're not seeing enough data under this yet. Well, okay, so that's in the negative. So realistically, okay, well I guess I already kind of had it here. Realistically, let's just say this: I wouldn't probably step up for anything $1 or greater on this. That sounds to be a pretty solid thing to say. So we already have an Anubis call right here actually at 80 cents. So there you go. But let's just say at about that level right there, I'd throw a little mad money at it. It can't go down here because this is negative numbers. So it can't. This dual AI line will pull it down because these things are magnetic. It'll pull it down towards there. But the last hope you got to buy in the positive at an ISIS line is in fact right at 96 cents and then slightly below that. So roughly about 80 cents would be about the safety area. Buy a little bit, see what happens. Yeah, it is. It is. She said that's one of the mother of all long games. It is. That's why I said I don't advocate for it. I mean, use your core money wisely. This is just a little thought that crossed my mind. As long as you kind of put me in a frame to kind of speak on this. I can afford, I've got multiple streams of income that come in, so I've got just mad money that pops in from just weird places all the time, and so I can, I made some money doing this. I flipped a car. I can, go buy something stupid. I could do that. Most of you guys are, working 9 to 5, Joe Lunch Bucket and Sally Workaday. You're doing the regular thing. So you have a set amount of money coming in. So you have to do something intelligent with it. You can't do a Hail Mary. You can't do a what the hell. You can't set aside any of it. You got to do something intelligent with the bulk of it. Every single shekel needs to go somewhere smart. I can think of a number of people by name that fit this category that are in my group, and so I wouldn't even suggest this even be on your radar. In any way, shape, or form. Even if you were given money from, for Christmas, don't do it because it's not going to have the certainty that an XLM or that, to a lighter degree Reef or et cetera, the ones we've talked about tonight, are going to do. So this is just not just isn't your dance, and so set this one out. Now, I know that there's a few McDonald's money players that are paying attention. This is populist, sorry. There's a few McDonald's money players that are really in love with Matic. Um, we've done reports on Matic. Let's get some of that trash out of here. We've done reports on Matic. Matic's good, solid player or whatever. But again, it's not going to be a superstar. Not going to be a superstar. It's not gonna rocket to, I mean, look at its history of movement. I mean, it's pretty, within a range, and when it goes to a certain area, it stays there for a while before it makes a move. So looking at this is what concerns me for you guys. I'll just come right out and say it because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I can think of a few people. This is going to crush some hopes and dreams. What have you seen before that I have shown you? I don't like Matic right now in the short term. Matic could be a while. I mean, I'm just showing you some Gestalt hypothetical, but I'm taking this hypothetical bounce is taking us clear into December 2023. That should concern you. So if you're holding Matic and you trust anything that I say, really evaluate what I'm showing you. Bounce one, bounce two, bounce three. I've shown you this time and again. I would not advocate for you McDonald's money people screwing with this. If you're in it, please, I implore you to consider what I'm telling you. Get out. Not financial advice. just friendly concern. All right, so Populous, the casino of coins. All right, so um, I love this damn thing. I have a sick engineer's mind. I like to reverse engineer everything, and this is what started this whole system to begin with. Is me trying to figure out how all the wild gyrations that XRP was doing at first. I was trying to figure out the spikes, and I did it. And I've been watching. This is my pet project. I watched this thing. I think I've called roughly about 27 spike moves. Let me strip all the. I think I've called back in the day, way back here way back here. See these spikes? There was a while where I was, boy, this has been a while, shit. Um, I was calling these with pretty deadly accurate frequencies. And some of these spikes were 70, 80, 90%. I'd be like, okay, here comes another one soon. The problem with this is you got to be right there ready to execute on the sell because this is just blatant manipulation, blatant computer trading. But here's something I want to show you. Clear the hell up here. I'm telling you, we're going right here. And look what we did. Back in July of 21, it took us until November of 21 to get to it. And look where we're spending most of our time, right here, above and beyond. Supports become resistance. And so these calls came in long ago. So what I'm watching, and I want to kind of go over the greatest hits of this, but this is a potentially useful coin. But go back and listen to some past live streams. I really broke this thing down. I really, this is kind of my sick obsession to make money off of this thing, and I've done very well. I trade on this thing all the time, but I don't tell you guys when I'm doing it because it happens so fast that I can't even go, oh, and it's already gone. It's already here and gone. But I've made a good amount of money trading off of this thing, but it's definitely the Wild West, and it's not for the faint of heart, and definitely not for McDonald's money people. And you got to have a very fast system to trade in, to opportunistically grab these spikes when they happen, because they happen with such predictability. It's ridiculous. It's almost like, hey, time to make money, bend over, pick it up. And but nonetheless. But I have told you guys that what's going to happen is we're going to be going down to the next leg down is we're going to be going down to around about here. And so Anubis is starting to come in. It's given 50% odds to go to here, 100% odds of another leg down to here, and that's basically where we're going. So we're heading down to 0.0444, but ultimately we're going lower. I think ultimately we're going to go down super cheap, right on death's doorstep. Go back and look and see what Populous is. Watch some past videos where I talk about this. You might have to listen to quite a bit of video to hear me talk about it. But go back and listen. This is a factoring coin. It has its use in a couple of years. It has its use. Binance delisted this thing and it's just been taking a dirt nap ever since. But I believe in my heart of hearts that this thing at some point in time is going to come out of the shadows and it's going to be useful. How far it'll go, how high it'll go, I don't know. But in the meantime, there's a lot of money to be made, and the weird people are using this as a cash machine, and I'm one of them. So, if you want to subscribe to Platinum Pro and watch this because I do track it, but I don't advise that anyone screw with this coin if you're using money that you don't want to lose because it does get pretty scary. Speaking, I'll do one more here. So I don't talk about this one very often. This is just one of those little meme things I threw in just to kind of watch because everybody talks about it. I see no value in this thing. I mean, you would know that I would not see value in this thing. Why would I? Right now, basically what's going on here to kind of clarify this, is you're ending up with a triangle here, and this thing is going to go down. Um, this thing is just slowly taking everybody's money. You know, the world's not going to be buying cars with ApeCoin. They're not going to be making mortgage payments with ApeCoin. This thing is just going to go to shit and take your money with it. So I'm just curiously watching a slow motion train wreck with that. All right, guys. So thank you very much for the thank you very much for joining me. Again, my name's Red Baron, and you know, if you guys haven't joined our community, you're new to the live stream, and you've managed to make it to this point, I'd like to thank you for being a part of our community. Join us at the unfairadvantage.chat, and of course, obviously, take advantage of this stuff. Get into the unfairadvantage.chat, and I did post some 20% off coupons for this, so you can save yourself 20% off of monthly subscription rates for that. And until next time, be safe, be good, and be good at it. For the first time this year, peace and